Teague hits another three. He already has 3 triples.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Looking to the end zone. Got to be a touchdown. Drake Toll.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Look at this. 2 to shoot. Mitchell drains another 3.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
That one picked off, and it's a pick 6 by Jalen Petrie.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Over the middle, he's got a man in stride, and walking into the end zone is Josh Fleeks with the touchdown.
Now here's David Smoak and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this damp, wet, soaked Friday. Last night, although he had mentioned it at the parade, Mark Vidal is going to, of course, be a part of the NBA draft. If I was Mark Vidal, with all the energy that he put into life, and Maceo Teague continues that amazing week where he's from in Cincinnati, throws out the first pitch, we're going to hear from his former high school principal who helped set this up, a lot of it up, along with his mother, Barbara Brooks Teague. But if I was Mark Vidal, and I don't know what his plans are as far as an agent, but he's going to turn pro, he's going to play somewhere, whoever, wherever. If I was him, I'd go find whatever he wants to do and just soak in it for about 3 or 4 days, like a beach, the mountains, and just turn off my cell phone.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I'd love to do that, not being Mark Vidal. That'd be fantastic to do. But yeah, I mean, it's a big decision that's not surprising, and everybody who announces they're entering the NBA draft, I don't think it should come as any surprise. I don't even think Matthew Meyer putting his name in the hat, although retaining his eligibility, is that much of a surprise given how much he was talked about towards the end of the season. So, yeah, I mean, Mark Vidal said he was going to do it. Like, it's not any surprise in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, it was to be expected, and I'm sure he'll try and get a little break before, all hell breaks loose with prep for the NBA draft.
Okay, I don't know what this means, but I just got a message on the board from Slimecap. Smokey Link starts approximately 7. I don't know what. That's something else maybe with another interview. D.D. Richards and Dejanay Carrington last night picked in the second round of the WNBA draft. D.D., it had to be L.A. or New York, right? I mean, she can't go to, like Indiana, with all due respect to Lauren Cox. She needed to be in New York or in L.A., and she will play for the Liberty. Dejanay Carrington picked by Connecticut. How almost evil is that she just had that moment against UConn and now she's playing for Connecticut?
Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but I don't know if evil's the word. It's just ironic, I guess. Yeah. And, yeah, that's a bit strange that she would somehow wind up there. So a lot of the people who were probably, sending her nasty tweets for calling out the no call at the end of the UConn game are not going to be rooting for her, because I would imagine there's a lot of Huskies fans that are also Connecticut Sun fans. I don't know who else the Connecticut Sun fans would be, quite frankly, other than probably a lot of UConn women's basketball fans. So, yeah, it's a good spot for her, I assume, and just glad that both of them, were able to hear their name called and have that opportunity. And Dee in New York will be something else. Now, it's not like she's rolling into New York with NBA salary. So, that's a slight bit different than if you were drafted by the New York Knicks at the same spot. But she'll, I'm sure thrive there and will be very popular and somehow, find her way into, doing some media stuff and all of that. But, yeah.
She did it today. She was on a Sports Center with Hannah Storm doing about a 5-minute cut in today and talking about New York as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a good spot for her. And, with Dejanay, that's another couple Lady Bears in the draft. It's weird to say they're second-round picks because there's 20-something picks in the entire thing.
Yeah.
So you can be top 15 and be a second-rounder technically. So, yeah, that was great to see for both of them last night.
Now, another thing, I had a lot of people last night, I say a lot, a handful reach out to me and ask me about Moon Ursin. Moon, I believe, and again, the school and Moon will make this official at some point. It's up to them. It's their time. But all indications, as far as I can tell, the meter points to Moon Urson coming back and playing another year at Baylor. But there's a lot of things that have to happen because of the fact she gets that extended year, like a lot of student athletes, because of COVID, and there's financial stuff. But it does appear, and some like, why wasn't she drafted? She was not really somebody that was ever projected to be drafted. I wouldn't put it against her to try somewhere, but I do believe that Moon Urson will be back for another year at Baylor, and I'll let her and Baylor eventually, whenever that works itself out, make that happen.
Well, I don't know that the WNBA was really a serious option, for her as far as a threat to, mess with her eligibility, with all due respect to her. We watched Nina Davis, who was a pretty solid player, and she was not a WNBA surefire player. You know what I mean? So it's just like the NBA. Not everybody's going to have, the opportunity to play pro. With Moon, I'm sure she could probably go overseas. I'm not sure what WNBA interest there would have been, but if she does come back, that's going to be great news for a lot of Lady Bears fans out there who I know have been hoping for that, and it would be great for the team, obviously, as well, because of the role that she has on the team, and she has had now for quite some time. So that'd be great if it does occur. If not, then, best wishes to her, but that would be good news.
Paul Catalina will be back. I think it's a week from today. He is traveling on vacation for the next week. Also, by the way, Sonny Dykes, SMU head coach, will join us today at 3:30. And former Midway and Oklahoma quarterback Tanner Mordecai will join us Monday. He'll be on the show with us as well. Grayson at 3:45 on SicEm365.com on recruiting, football, all that. He also had a story earlier today that Baylor had an offer out to the young man. He played, I believe, at Laredo United, who may have hit the game-tying shot, I believe, in the 5A or 6A state championship game. Arsenault, a little bit about that. Also, Curtis Geralds, as we kind of almost wrap up all the former players. We've only had maybe one or two that we have not gotten on, but I think we've had about 2 or 3, 4 dozen former players. Curtis Geralds, he was a 4-year starter. He started every game as a freshman. That was the year they didn't have non-conference games. He also started as well as a sophomore every game. He led Baylor twice, back-to-back years in both scoring and assists. How about that? And he was a part of that next wave in that 2006-7 year, 8-year, and then eventually handed off to part of Tweety Carter, Epe Udo, among some others. Craig was at football practice yesterday. Matthew Pallage, the safeties and special teams coach. I got a comment or two about special teams. We'll have that. And also Jaron McVeigh will join us as well, Baylor safety in what was from yesterday. Also today, Maceo Teague's former principal, I mentioned this, Jeff Brokamp, will join us at around 4:30. He's throwing out the first pitch at Cincinnati with the Reds, which would be 5:30 our time. He was the principal for a long time at Walnut Hills High School, so that's coming up. But the horrible news from earlier today, Nelson Haggerty, former Baylor guard. He was on the staff with Grant McCaslin at North Texas. He was a former head coach at Midwestern State University, was killed in a single vehicle accident. And he was 47 years old, wife and 4 children left behind. He lives in Midwestern State, hooked up with Grant McCaslin. I just saw this from Paul Mills on Twitter. Hags was loved by so many. He was the all-time leader in assists at Baylor. Everyone else was a distant second. Loved his family, his players. Please join me in praying for the Haggerty family, North Texas basketball players and staff. His impact cannot be measured. And that is about Nelson Haggerty, who passed away in a one-vehicle accident, the former Baylor guard.
Yeah, he finished with 699 career assists, which is the most in Baylor history, so one short of 700 assists.
Led the country in 94, 95, 10 assists per game.
Yeah, it just goes to show you the fragility of life. And, just earlier this week, they're holding that parade, and there's all these former players back. And I know Grant McCaslin was at that parade. Everybody's smiling and having fun, and then, just a few days later, a member of that same fraternity that was all just celebrating together a few days ago, this big accomplishment, he's ripped away at a very young age. And, I just feel awful for his children, for his wife, or for his family. That's just not news that is ever good, obviously, and just out of nowhere like that, too. Just so sudden is just awful. So, prayers for, the Haggerty family. For Baylor basketball, too, being, an alum, and, of course, North Texas basketball, that's got to be really tough for those guys.
We have reached out to both Connecticut and New York, the Liberty and also the Sun, for Dejanay and Didi. I just got a text while we were talking here from Connecticut Sun, from Annette. Howard, and we're trying to see if we might get Dejanay. And it's just, right now they're still not at where the programs or franchises are, but finding out whether or not we could land that, we'll let you know as soon as we know. Trojans center Evan Mobley, heck of a player, 7-footer, has announced he's declared for the NBA draft. Baylor volleyball will play on Sunday against Nebraska up in Omaha in the Sweet 16 of the Volleyball National Tournament after their win against Pepperdine. Bruceville Eddy has promoted defensive coordinator Jeff Nooner as their head coach and AD. And last night, or actually earlier this week, Brad Boyd has been the offensive coordinator under Jeff Hume since 2016 at Midway. He took the job as head coach at Burke Burnett, and Brock Walker will take over as the offensive coordinator. He's been at McKinney Boyd. He's been at he was a running backs coach at Highland Park. He's been on staff with Jeff Hume since he arrived in 2016. Now, we have the Eric Mateos audio. I want to do that here, Armstrong. So Craig was at practice. Eric Mateos will have all of what Matthew Powell said around 5 or so, somewhere in the 5 o'clock hour. But I listened to this morning, and then I was like, man, there's a couple of nuggets here. A couple of things to touch on. He was asked about who the starters are. And he talks about how they're all playing a lot of different rotations of different positions, and he gets into why, which is one of the things that we wondered about last year's offensive line, because they never seemed to be set anywhere, right tackle, left guard, whoever. He also discusses kind of what his goals are. You can see he's pretty forceful here with things that he wants to see. Whether he sees them yet remains to be seen. And then Craig, and we'll get to the audio here in a few seconds, he pulled the old... He wants to start with a clean slate. He has not watched any film because he doesn't want to have any preconceived notions about any of these guys. And that, I didn't understand when Larry Fedora said this a year ago or whenever it was in February a year ago. I didn't quite understand that because he has the entire offense. With Eric Mateos, those offensive linemen better hope to God he never watches. And I'm kind of tongue-in-cheek here. Most of what they did last year because that was a mess.
I was going to say, if he watched the tape from the last couple of years, then he's going to want an entire new offensive line.
Or maybe ask Jay Veranda, hey.
Really, though, I don't want to go on another O-line rant because I'm tired of ranting about the O-line, and it's not a rant directed towards anybody in particular. It's just the general frustration with the fact that it's taken them, so long, and they're still in this process of trying to form a competent offensive line. And I know there's been a lot of reasons why that's been difficult, and I know that's difficult to do to begin with, but it's just I think it's beyond frustration now. But for Mateos, clean slate I think is good. For Fedora, as you mentioned, he's got the entire offense. Why would you not want to see, who maybe your standout receivers or running backs or tight ends or even quarterback is? So that never really made a ton of sense to me, but with Mateos it does. And what's he even going to see really, other than average to not very good, quite frankly. So, I think it's probably the best. And who played well enough to even have a starting spot coming back, really? Maybe Connor Galvin, but even then, you just want to come in and shake things up because there's nothing that was so good that can't be changed from the last couple of seasons.
So here's Eric Mateos. This was after practice yesterday. We'll have all of what Matthew Powell says. And Mateos probably talked for 6 minutes. This is about 3 minutes and of what we just kind of teased for you. And then your thoughts, 254-339-1122. We'll have Sonny Dykes of SMU head coach today at 3:30. Here's part of Eric Mateos.
Yes, progressing every day. Guys that are eager to play well, and they want to be coached, and they're being coachable and seeing steps forward every single practice.
Would you say the positions are pretty much up for grabs? Xavier said everybody's played, several positions.
Yeah, it's April. I don't know.
15.
April. Yeah, we won't set a starting five till about 2 weeks out from our first game. So we got a long ways to go on setting the best five.
Coach, what's the benefit of rotating guys like that and getting them to play the different positions, learn those positions? What's the benefit of that?
Position versatility. I think there's, especially in the era of contact tracing and COVID, position versatility. You never know when somebody's just going to disappear from your locker room. When I was at BYU, over the course of 2 seasons, I played 28 different offensive line lineups because of injuries and COVID. And so I think the more you train guys and teach them the entire scheme of the offense, then when you move guys around when those moments come up, they're ready. And that's, to me, that's a big part of playing the position.
Would you say that there's been a lot to teach from what they kind of knew previously? Is it drastically different, or kind of how much time does that take to kind of get to know what you're looking for?
Well, I know what I'm looking for, so that doesn't take much time. But to get them there, that is, every coach has a different emphasis of fundamentals, and so my emphasis of fundamentals is different than the next guy's, and that's okay. I want to sell what I believe in, and that's my job as a coach, that I believe that what I'm teaching is the best stuff out there. I'm giving them the best tools for their toolbox. So where they started is really irrelevant because everybody starts at different places, and for me the goal is how many tools do we have ready and sharp when we kick off the first game.
When you look at where they were a year ago, what do you feel like is the biggest area of improvement for this O-line?
Where they've improved so far,
or like what coming into spring ball, what would you say was the biggest area of improvement that you were looking to see out of it?
Other than needed?
Yeah.
I don't know that there was an area. I didn't watch any of the film from last season. That's it's really none of my business, quite honestly. And I think they deserve to have a clean slate, and that's what I wanted to give them. And I wanted that to be honest. I didn't want for me to come in and say you have a clean slate, but really I have some prejudice from film. So I think my number one goal, especially when you start with a new group, is building grit and building unit, cohesiveness. And, I had a great coach in junior college, Ryan Rhodes, who told me the tighter we are, the better we are. And I've been holding on that for a long time, and I think that's where you have to start, especially when it's a new O-line group. I mean, any position coach that takes over a new unit, they have that challenge of, earning trust. So that's my goal too, is earn that trust, but also they need to trust each other. Ultimately, when we leave spring, they all need to know that they have each other's back.
So that's Eric Mateos. Now let's kind of break this down a little bit. 254-339-1122. How are they progressing? It's 2 weeks into spring drills. It's a question that's legitimate. How are they considering where he saw them, even maybe during the offseason? We do know that it appears, based on Vic Valoria and strength and conditioning, and even what Dave Aranda said, or even just looking at who they have out there, that some of them have put on some bulk, meat, and muscle. And now, does that make them better offensive linemen? It gives them a chance to be stronger and maybe have leverage, but it's still about technique and also kind of attitude, right? And listening a couple of different times when I've been around the offensive line, even when they're doing standard fundamental stuff, Mateos he's got an edge to him. For some, maybe that's a little bit much, and for some, it might be they need all of that. And that's for him to learn each individual and how they need to be coached. Number two, he wants to give them all a clean slate. When Larry Fedora said that a year ago, my radar, my red flags, everything in my body went, why would you not want to see what they had? Like what R.J. Sneed was a year ago, Tyquan Thornton a year ago, or Charlie Brewer a year ago. And I guess because the offense never, ever, ever seemed to make one sort of climb the ladder improvement, you kind of that kind of came back to like haunt him a little bit, at least based on what we've discussed. Because you wonder, because they never watched the film, were there things that maybe he could have picked up that works better with certain people. But that also was just the fact that everybody across the board, most everybody, just did not perform very well among what you have to have on offense. But that's exactly what Eric Mateos just said. And Craig, you made a point. It might be a good thing if you're Xavier Newman, or if you are Khalil Keith, or if you are whoever else.
I mean, none of them have, I don't want to sound like I'm bagging on these guys like personally, but none of them have shown anything to cement a starting spot going into next fall. They just haven't. Connor Galvin, maybe. Maybe another guy that you want to throw in there, but I don't feel like anybody has just been so good that you go like, yeah, that guy's definitely, or these three are definitely all starters next year. I think you can kind of do that with a couple guys. I think Grant Miller, you probably feel pretty good about him starting, at least from what I saw last weekend. That's what I would think. Connor Galvin again. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, why? I mean, there's no need to name an offensive line right now. There's no need to name a quarterback right now. I don't care what anybody says. You don't need to name anything on April 16th.
And I don't think he could anyway.
And I don't think he probably could.
If they were playing a game next week, he'd have to have one, but I don't think he'd know who it was.
No, I don't think he's there yet. I don't think that maybe they're even, holding the same group of players that they'll be holding by the time that decision's made, just because you could always go potentially in the transfer portal if you really feel the need to, or if somebody magically appears that you go, wait a second, this guy's available, so there could be even more shuffling. But this is pretty much the group they're going to have. So they're getting good work in, it appears like, and yeah, there's no reason for him to watch too much from last year. I do think it would give him kind of a bad taste right out of the gates, and maybe that's what Fedora was looking to avoid. I don't know, but it is different. It's different when you're talking about a guy who's just coaching the O-line and knows what he's looking for. He doesn't really need to see what they did previously because, as he pointed out, he knows what he's looking for. And there's a big difference in a guy who's in running the entire offense and has no grasp of what anybody's doing or has done skill-wise or what have you. So, yeah, two different scenarios for sure. But I liked listening to Mateos, and I thought, he's another one of those new coaches where you just get the sense that they know what they're doing. I mean, obviously that's why they're here, but you just get the sense that they're going to fix it. I don't think this is another example of, it's like making a hire, guy comes in, not much really changes. No, I think that Grimes and Mateos and Stuckey and, everybody else that's become new members of the staff this season, Kevin Curtis, I think they're all going to make positive impacts this season.
Well, there's two or three things that we heard, and last year we were able to kind of go, whoa. One of them was the film, and there's probably very much it's his offensive line group, nobody else's. Although Jeff Grimes will have a major part of that as well. The part about mixing and flexibility, Randy Clements, who was as good as anybody that Baylor's ever has an offensive line coach, as anybody they've ever had. They were really good about guys moving from guard to center, from tackle to guard, whatever, and learning, or at least watching how they progressed, where they could then move Philip Blake from guard to an all-conference center. From the only one that I remember, and you, as a long time, if you are a Baylor fan or someone who's followed him for long enough, I think one of the few guys that never changed was Spencer Drango, one of the top offensive line recruits, commits, and signees Baylor's ever had out of Cedar Park. And he was an all-conference guy in the NFL, trying to get back in the NFL. He was at the Pro Day recently. But Spencer Drango was a left tackle. You don't mess with those guys. But there were others that were good and then moved to another position and were good because Clemens kind of was good about mixing and matching them. But he made a good point about it because of COVID. Last year, though, I remember Paul was especially on this. He couldn't quite understand while they were mixing and matching Newman from center to guard, like in between the games, and like from one series to the next. And sometimes Xavier, you wondered if he was playing center, if he knew he was playing guard. So that was something of interest, but we heard that again.
I just think that a lot of that rotating is because you didn't have a real five. I mean, yeah, ideally you'd love to know you're starting 5 offensive linemen and have 5 guys you feel great about, but I don't know if they had 5 guys they felt great about. So you need 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to maybe feel great, but that also means that there's 10 guys playing O-line and you're rotating a lot, and you've got, Newman Johnson on any given drive playing either center or guard and being okay to not great in some cases in doing so. So, hopefully some of that settles down a little bit just so guys can kind of, I guess, settle in themselves. But what the hell do I know? I'm not an offensive line coach in the Big 12. That's Eric Mateos. He knows what he's doing, and I'm sure he'll have that group right.
So that's Eric Mateos. We'll hear more from him again at some point next week. I love some of the terminology or some of the phrases. I need to learn. I need to make sure they understand how to run through somebody's face.
Yeah.
And what is it about what Jeff Grimes has mentioned? Something about the offensive tempo and violence in a way where you play the game with that kind of streak. Run through somebody's face. That doesn't mean they have somebody who can, or maybe they have 5. I don't know, but I like just kind of that. That's just me, old school. As well. 254-339-1122. Daniel, by the way, telling me that us on Twitter, text line. Brady Manick, who was at Oklahoma, good player for them, has transferred now. He's going to transfer to North Carolina. From Scotty B, probably the best to be versatile in the offensive line. Smart not to list starting 5 until 2 weeks from the game. Hopefully they'll have some cohesion, be better in fundamentals. Besides being versatile, the quality depth is important. You have to have quality before you can have quality depth. You have to have more than 3, 4, or 5 to have quality depth. But Daniel, Scotty B and Daniel, thank you both for that text as well.
Well, the offensive line was 6 guys deep when Matt Rule was hired that spring. They had gotten up to like 14 or 15 guys, I think, by the time the fall rolled around. But they were, in many cases, nowhere near they shouldn't have been playing at that point. Like Ryan Miller should not have been playing as a true freshman, you know what I mean? So that was rocky. And then they've had kind of a rotating door of, 5 or 6 guys they bring in every year and then 2 or 3 that leave. And it's just, it's never, and then obviously DeLeon got hurt, and then Sean Bell was the offensive line coach for like 2 years, and he hadn't been an offensive line coach before. It's just been weird. It's been like the whole thing's just been weird for like the last 3 years, from coaching changes to
lack of scholarships to
COVID, to guys not cutting it and having to or deciding to transfer out, which has been the case with multiple guys from those first couple of Rule classes, which was also expected because those were, the first one especially was put together so quickly. But I like I said, I think Mateos is going to figure this out. I don't have any real questions about that.
Sonny Dykes in the next segment, SMU head coach. Also Grayson Grunhafer, Curtis Geralds, Matthew Powledge, Jeff Brokamp on Maceo Teague's week in Cincinnati, including throwing out the first pitch for the Reds tonight. Jaron McVay and much more. We have a couple of other notes about the WNBA. And this is SicEm365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. You can go online and look at all of what they have and order what you need, or you can also just call them. Drop by their location on Lake Air Drive. If you like crawfish, if you're having a crawfish boil and you're like, damn, man, I forgot to order it, or maybe you can go find it somewhere, wherever. Every single week right now, while it's crawfish season, you can drop by Waco Custom Marketplace or call them and order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish. That's a large sack. That's a heavy sack of some big, beautiful, delicious crawfish for you to boil, whether it's a shrimp boil, crawfish boil, both with potatoes. They have the red pea potatoes. They also have the Louisiana seasoning. And if you want the corn, the cobettes as well. So throw it all in there. Do what you want to do. Enjoy 30-pound sacks of live crawfish. Order by Wednesday at 6. Pick up starting on Friday at 2 or anytime when they're open on Saturday. Plus, they have fresh baked bread and kolaches every morning with their bakery that bakes everything from cookies to pies to cakes to much more. And the butcher shop where you can custom cut your steaks, have them ready, you order, they cut them, you pick them up, plus poultry, pork, and also seafood. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
SMU in their spring drills coming off 7-3, fourth year for Sonny Dykes with the Ponies up in Dallas. And Coach Dykes joins us now on SicEm365 Radio, David and Craig Smoak. And Coach, thanks for your time. I don't know this for sure, but did you guys get anything in at all last year during the spring before the shutdown hit?
You know, we had 3 practices. So what we were doing was we were going to have 3 practices prior to having spring break, just kind of get some of our stuff installed and then have a little break and come back. And then for us, as the world kind of shut down that week that we were on spring break, and so we got 3 in, and that was it.
So this is thrilling, right? I first of all, everything's kind of getting closer and closer back to normal. And could you ever imagine before not having spring drills unless you're a coach that's hired after spring drills?
Yeah. Last year obviously was strange for so many different reasons, but it feels fantastic to be back out there, practicing. I love spring training. It's a real exciting time of the year. You really get an opportunity to have a chance to see how much players have progressed. There's always surprises in spring training. We're doing it really late this year. I think we probably started as late as anybody in the country. And we did that so that our guys could have, a 12 to 15 week training block where, they got to lift weights uninterrupted, and really just got to focus on strength and conditioning. And we were able to do some football things with them, leading up to spring training. And we're so much further along than we normally are in the spring. And so, I like the schedule actually, and our players seem to like it. And once we wrap up spring ball, our players get a little bit of a break. They go they go home right after we're done, have about 3 weeks to recover and rest up. And then we bring them back, right around June 1st for summer school. And that'll launch us into next season. So I really like the schedule. Typically you can't do it because of spring recruiting. You kind of got to have everything wrapped up by the middle of April if you can. But I think it makes a lot of sense in a lot of different ways, and something that we'll probably look at moving forward.
Speaking of recruiting, are you kind of relieved, coaches relieved? One, I know the transfer portal decision came down, and that's another entity, I guess. But what about the fact that it's opening up perhaps June the 1st or whatever it might be when it comes to face-to-face contact with recruits?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we need to be able to have a chance to get some kids on campus. And more importantly, those kids need to have a chance to go places and visit and see, what a university is all about, see what the campus is like, see what the coaching staff's all about, see what the program feels like. And so it's going to be really important to get a lot of those 22 kids on campus. Normally, being in Dallas and having access to all these players in Dallas, we normally have guys on our campus.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously at home football games, we like to bring a lot of recruits to our Sunday practice as well. And so typically we're used to seeing these guys, weekly. And we've gone now, really 18 months without having any kind of interaction in person with any recruits. And so it's exciting to have a chance to open up and have our camps and get around high school players and let them see what we have to offer.
Coach, you made it a point, and others have in the past as well, to try and make that surrounding area of Dallas the home base and recruit out of that base. You guys have had success through the transfer portal, but also just in straight-up recruiting as well. Is this kind of where you wanted to be as far as your pull in the Dallas area and the way local recruits are taking notice of the Mustangs?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if you're going to have a successful football program, it doesn't matter where it is. You have to recruit your own backyard. I mean, that's where it starts. And if you have access to a lot of players locally, then, there's really no good reason why you can't build a successful football program. At least I don't see the reason why you can't. And so we're blessed to be in DFW. I think that, when you sit down, you look at the numbers, you look at the resources that these high schools have in DFW, you look at the quality of coaches, you look at the strength and conditioning off-season programs that a lot of these high schools have. You look at the facilities. You just look at the commitment to football. It's as strong in DFW as it is anywhere in the United States. And so, that's where it starts for us. We have to be able to recruit the entire state. It's going to be really important for us to do that, and then recruit some in the adjoining states. We've had some success with some kids from Arkansas and Louisiana as well. And so, this is always going to be our footprint. I think we signed, if I'm not mistaken, according to the Dallas Morning News, 13 of the top 100 players in the DFW area last year. And I think that's what we need to do. I mean, there's no reason why we can't get the best kids to stay home and go to SMU and have a chance to win a championship and get a world-class education and be able to do it in front of their friends and family.
One player that's coming home to the state of Texas is a young man that Craig and I were able to broadcast his games at Midway, and Tanner Mordecai was at Oklahoma, used the transfer portal to end up on your campus. I know you have others at the quarterback position. Your thoughts about early on and maybe what you saw from him even early in the offseason as well?
Yeah, obviously Tanner's a prospect that we knew about coming out of Midway. We thought he was a really good football player, watched him as he was at Oklahoma, have a pretty strong relationship with a lot of those coaches at OU and Lincoln going all the way back to, he was a player at Texas Tech when I was a coach, and his brother, Garrett, is our offensive coordinator here. And so there's a lot of connections. Bill Biedenbow is one of my closest friends in the profession. He's the line coach there. Dennis Simmons, just a lot of guys know each other. And so, knew Tanner, thought based on the situation that he was in at Oklahoma that there was a chance that he might be looking around or potentially want to transfer. And, I've got a strong relationship with Coach Hulme at Midway. And so anyway, it all kind of fell into place, and we were fortunate that he decided to come to SMU. And, we're in the middle of spring ball now, and he's picking things up very quickly. Our offense is very similar to Oklahoma's, not only in, kind of the design, but how we run practice, the drills that we run, all those things are kind of from that air raid school of thought. And so he's transitioned really well. I think he's very comfortable. It helps. He brought Grant Calcaterra with him as well, who was an all-conference tight end there at Oklahoma, and he's on our campus now, and he looks great as well. So we're fortunate to have those guys. It's going to be a really good quarterback competition. We've got three guys that are competing hard, and Tanner's in the mix, and certainly looks good so far.
Coach, as you just mentioned, you're a program that has been able to benefit from the transfer portal. I think every program probably has in some form or fashion, but we talk to Baylor AD Mac Rhodes every week, and every week there's some new crisis in college football or some rule change or something that's changing. And
it's just kind of chaos in some ways right now. What do you just make of the kind of the landscape of college football, the various rules, the transfer portal, interconference transfers? Just kind of what do you make of the stakes of the game right now?
Yeah. Well, I think what you have to do, first of all, is you have to find out pretty quickly, what can benefit you and what's going to hurt you when it comes to these rule changes. And we were really fortunate. We got ahead of kind of the transfer thing. In other words, there were a lot of really good high school players that went to high school in DFW and then left and went someplace and went there and they had a coaching change, went there and got injured, went there and the system changed, went there and got homesick, went there and had a family emergency and needed to come home. All these different things happened. And so we took our first year, we took a transfer, Reggie Robertson, who was a heavily recruited guy that went to West Virginia and played some as a freshman at West Virginia. Reggie transferred here. At that time, you had to sit out. He filed a waiver with the NCAA, was granted immediate eligibility based on the fact he was coming home for a family emergency. And Reggie went on and had a 1,000-yard receiving year for us, had a great year. And then all of a sudden, he was really happy here. He was happy. He flourished. His parents were able to come watch him play. He was able to see his friends. He had a great experience. And so Reggie put the word out there, and all of a sudden we started getting more guys that contacted us about coming home. Shane Buechele obviously was the next one. He was part of that next year's class that came in, and Shane led us to a 10-win season. That's the first time they'd had a 10-win season here at SMU in almost 40 years. And so, he kind of helped us get the thing going. I think without the transfer portal, it would have been a little slower build than it was to reach 10 wins in year two. But we were able to find some really good players and fill in where we needed to fill in. But, we're going to build our program with high school players. We have to. I mean, that's just what we want to do. That's the right way to do it. We're never going to sacrifice the long-term health of our program for short-term gain. And so we were really careful about who we bring in, how they fit into our roster. Probably one of the biggest things that's changed for a head coach now is roster management. Literally every single day I start my day with our roster and talking about players on our roster and things that we need to do as far as addressing it, potential guys that we think may go in the portal. We've been fortunate. I think since I've been here in 3 years, I think we've only had 3 players go in the portal, and I think we've gained 27, if I'm not mistaken. So we're plus 24, and the good thing is of those 27 players we've taken, they've been real difference makers for our program. And so, we have a good culture. Our guys like being here. We don't lose a lot of transfers, and I think that's the one thing that changes now. You have to create an environment where your guys like coming to work every day. The players like to be around their coaches, and you got to coach them hard, and you got to set high expectations and hold people accountable. But your culture is just critical now, and your players need to be happy. And so it's created a whole different way of coaching, I think, in a lot of ways, and you have to be willing to adjust. Regarding the open transfer thing, look, I think anything that's good for young people is a positive thing. I always got a kick out of it where if you were a coach and you made a mistake and you took a job someplace and you decided once you got there you wanted to leave, you could leave without any penalty. But an 18-year-old, the kid that was recruited, had to sit out for a year. And so it just never made a lot of sense to me. And so I'm in favor of it. The interconference thing is a little bit more difficult, a little bit trickier. But again, I think it's where it's headed, and I think we got to get in front of it and try to figure out how to deal with it the best we can.
I believe you were at Texas Tech for a year or two when Dave Aranda was there as a young coach under that staff. There's so many great names that have come out of that staff that Mike Leach had during that time as well. What do you remember about Dave, now the head coach at Baylor? Anything you recall during that time?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Dave was a graduate assistant there. And, I mean, it's pretty crazy. You look at the guys that were on the staff. Dana Holgerson was our inside receivers coach. I was the outside receivers coach. Art Briles was the running back coach. Dave was a graduate assistant. Lincoln Riley was a coach and then became a student coach. Or excuse me, was a player and then became a student coach. Cliff Kingsbury was there as a player. Sonny Cumbie was there as a player. Graham Harrell was there as a player. All those guys are now coordinators or head coaches, different places. And so we had a group of young people that loved football. We used to talk football all the time. I was always real impressed with Dave. He's a very smart guy. He's very thoughtful, was, mature beyond his years. Had a real interest in football. I thought he was popular with the players. I think he had an ability to connect to the players very early on in his career. And I'm not surprised that he's gone on to have great success as a coordinator, and he will as a head coach. And so, Dave was an impressive guy as a young guy, and again, not surprised at the success he's had.
When you were in meetings with all the guys you just mentioned, from the young to the oldest to Mike Leach, whatever in between, were there times can you even try to describe the knowledge and the insight into football that was going on during that time?
Well, I was lucky. I was really part of. I got hooked up with Mike at the University of Kentucky, even before his arrival at Texas Tech. So, I was around Hal Mumme, and to me, Hal Mumme was really the guy,
the godfather, right?
Yeah, he's the guy that put all this stuff together, and it was fun to be part of that. I'll never forget, coaching with him in 1997. I was a graduate assistant. I was Mike Leach's GA, and we're getting ready to play Louisville, and we had about 12 plays on our script, and that was it. And I remember going to that first ball game thinking, these guys are nuts. You can't just have 12 plays on a script, and and we're going to get killed. And I don't think we punted once the whole football game. And so, Hal's the master. I mean, he really was the guy that figured all this out and really changed football. And I think Hal Mumme is probably as responsible for creating the way football is played now as anybody. And then obviously Mike learned under him, and all of us kind of learned under Mike. And the thing that we learned was a common sense approach to football. I think that's what Hal has as much as anything else, is just a very smart way of organizing things, putting things together, being simple, keeping it simple, and making sure that your players can learn a scheme, but making sure that they're also very, very well versed fundamentally. I think that's the thing that people look past. When you see a guy that's from the air raid tree, their players are going to be good at fundamentals, because Hal and Mike and them, that was what we did. I mean, we emphasized fundamentals. We were always simple in our scheme. Our players knew what to do. That allowed them to play fast, but we were always very good fundamentally. And that's what makes this thing work. And it's just a belief and a way of practicing and a way of organizing our thoughts. And it's worked for a lot of different coaches. You
don't mind one more question about coaching. Your father, obviously, Spike, Hall of Famer, incredible man, personality, and football coach. Did you almost have that in your blood? Could you tell at some point that coaching was in your blood because of him as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, I fought it. My older brother was a coach, my dad was a coach, and I was like, look, I'm going to do anything except be a coach. And so, I fought it for a while. I thought it, for a while I wanted to go to the Air Force Academy and be a pilot, and failed an eye exam. And so that was off. And then, wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. But, at the end of the day, look, I knew that there was no way that I could, not be involved in football on Saturday afternoons. Just my entire life, either Friday night when my dad was a high school coach or Saturday as a college coach, there's just something special about those Saturdays. And, there's just something special about being part of a team. And I think that's why, if you're an athlete, that's why you look back on those days so fondly, because there's nothing like making sacrifices for people and knowing that people are willing to sacrifice for you, and having a common vision and sharing that with your teammates, and investing with people, and going through hard things together. And, that really doesn't happen anywhere else in the world other than really in the military and in college, in athletics. And so that's, I think, what makes it such a unique experience. And I knew the older I got, the more I was getting sucked in. And I just knew once it happened, once I got my feet wet, that it was going to be something I loved doing.
How much, and thanks for your time today, Coach. Really do appreciate it. Sonny Dykes from SMU. Impact of working near and alongside Kaz Kazadi, because we saw the magic he did at Baylor.
Look, I mean, it's hard to put a value on what he's worth to a program. I mean, he's just so good at what he does. He's an outside the box thinker. Some of the stuff he does, you look at it and you go, what in the world are we doing, and why are we doing this? And he's got a scientific reason behind it. Mm-hmm. What he does probably better than anything else, though, is he helps build your culture. He's built a great culture for us. We've got our players work incredibly hard. The guys, guys care about each other. They're unselfish. They're great in the community. Our players are really involved in DFW in terms of getting involved outside of football and trying to help people less fortunate. And a lot of that comes from Kaz. He's been a real difference maker for us. He's obviously really good at what he does from strength and conditioning, but he does an unbelievable job with injury prevention. I think he's so far ahead of the curve that it makes a big difference for us. We don't have very many injuries during practice. We have very few during the season. A lot of that has to do with how he trains their players and his emphasis on nutrition. And so it's made a huge difference in our program and been, one of the reasons we've been able to win 17 games the last 2 years. And we anticipate having a championship level program year in, year out. We're kind of at that stage where last year we were 7-3, and in some ways 7-3 felt like 3-7. We think of ourselves as a championship level program and a program that can and will compete for championships year in, year out. I think we spent 11 weeks in the top 25 the last 2 years. And again, SMU had been unranked for almost 40 years. Mm-hmm. And Kaz has been a big part of all that. And so he's incredibly valuable to what we're doing.
Sonny, thank you very much. Good luck. Continued luck.
Okay, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. SMU football coach with us on many things, including they're trying to take that next step. 10-3, 7-3. They had the games with TCU and Houston postponed. Now they hope to have a full season. They start spring drills now. I think it's in their second or third week. When we come back, Grayson Grundhafer will join us on recruiting, football, and basketball. Curtis Geralds will join us as well. And then Jeff Brokamp, the high school principal, used to be at Walnut Hills High School. Maceo T grew up there. All of that and more. SicEm365 Radio.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. Cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of SicEm365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus. And best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
All right, here we go. Running about 8 to 10 minutes behind. Thanks to Sonny Dykes. We'll have Curtis Gerald's in the next hour. Jeff Brokamp from Cincinnati. Maceo Teague, former high school principal of the Baylor All-American Guard in Maceo Teague. We're now joined by Grayson Grundhafer on many things. Grayson, let's start with basketball. Grayson with SicEm365.com. I noticed you put up notice about Arsenault getting an offer from Baylor as far as basketball, because they had their 3 guys early, and I'm sure they're working on maybe a transfer, perhaps a guard or 2. I don't know. And we had Ashley on as well. Give us a little update on Arsenault and getting the offer from Baylor.
Yeah, so Smokey, he's a 2022 guy, so he won't be in this class with Brown and Love and Sohan, but he is a guy who's been rising up basketball rankings. He was unranked at the beginning of the year, so he's really gone on a nice run. Of course, won the state championship, hit 2 unbelievable shots to really win Beaumont United the state championship. But a very good player, 6'6", about 190 pounds, has a 6'11" wingspan, and I just think he looks like a guy who is kind of a perfect fit for Baylor. And, it's interesting because I think as you see more basketball, people start to get spoiled when you win a championship. But he's a guy who's probably going to be a top 75 guy. And so I know people are a little, maybe saying, oh, he's got a lower ranking than some, but his ranking just hasn't been adjusted yet. I think he'll be top 75, maybe even top 50 type player, and a very good one who I think fits exactly what this staff is building. And he's a guy who could come in and be on the roster for 4 years, or he could be a guy who just continues to grow and get better and better like he has every year in high school, and maybe become a 2-and-done or 3-and-done type player.
Grayson, we talked over the other day on the Bearcast about Ty Washington. You brought him up. Is anything new? I know it's only been a couple of days, but anything new on another potential Baylor basketball target?
Yeah, so Ty is really an interesting one because he's a 2021, so he would be in this current recruiting cycle for Baylor and would be a guy that would enroll at some point in the summer. So he's weighing all his options. I think he's going to release a top 5 on Saturday. I'd be pretty surprised if Baylor wasn't in it, even though they only offered a few days ago. I think Baylor's made up some ground there. So I think they're in his top 5, but from everything I've heard, it really seems like Kentucky has the edge there, even though they offered after Baylor. But they lost Devin Askew to Texas, and it seems like there's a major opening there. And, of course, Kentucky has great lineage with guards in the NBA, so I think that's very appealing. But, Baylor's going to continue to recruit him, and obviously they would definitely welcome him to the roster. He's a top 30 prospect, probably even better than that. To be honest, I think he's got a great opportunity to be a one-and-done type player, really excelled at Geico Nationals and led Compass Prep to a 2-loss season, and both of their losses were to the best team in the country, Montverde. So he really led his team to a great year, and he's a very good prospect. But obviously Baylor is okay with that because with the transfer portal the way that it is, it just seems like every day there's a new guy who averaged 18 points per game inside the portal. And I think when you have that kind of luxury, you can still try to take guys who are older, which obviously Scott Drew and company have had a lot of success doing.
you know, they have a nice core coming back, but when you lose the names like Vital and obviously Davion Mitchell and most likely would, of course, Teague and Butler appear to be a part of that. We know Matthew Meyer is sticking his toes in the water. Who knows? But they do have a lot of players coming back and some that were waiting to be able to play as well. How imperative, though, do you think it is to go in the transfer portal and find a guard, a guy that, you know, L.J. Cryer might be that. Who knows? Maybe Flagler, whoever else that's a part of that. But how important do you think it is to go and find somebody like that? But not just because he's talented, but because he fits what Baylor does.
Yeah, I think that is extremely important. I don't think it necessarily has to be a transfer. Like if they were able to land Ty Washington,
sure,
you take him no matter what. But yeah, they need to land another guard, in my opinion. And getting a veteran guard really would help them a ton. You know, my personal opinion is that I think Adam Flagler is going to be a guy who plays over 30 minutes a game. I think he's going to be an unquestioned starter at the 2 position, or, you know, they're pretty versatile. But at the 2, I think Matthew Meyer will also be a starter at probably the 3. And as of right now, I think Kendall Brown at the 4 and maybe Flo Thomber, Everyday John at the 5. That's kind of how I see those 4 spots. But I do think there's one spot that's kind of up in the air. And I know L.J. Cryer could fill that very well, and I think excel at it. But I also think getting another guard or a veteran who you think has a lot of upside, who could get you to a national championship or allow, you know, L.J. Cryer to have Adam Flagler's role from this season next year, I think that would benefit his, you know, kind of trajectory in the program, you know, not having to be the starting point guard right away during his first, you know, real playing time season, give him an opportunity to really work his way up to that, much like Flagler did this year.
Meanwhile, in football, another open practice tomorrow. They had that last weekend as well. They'll also have the spring game a week from tomorrow. Really anything bubbling as far as football recruiting? I know June 1st, everything's going to open back up, but anybody attending these open practices, like what kind of a feel are you getting there?
Yeah, so I don't think the open practices have really been a huge deal as far as recruits showing up for that. I will say, you know, a lot of the guys I've talked to are talking about coming up for the spring game on the 24th, the green and gold game. So I think that's where you'll see the majority of recruits. You might see a couple here or there at, you know, the practice tomorrow. But I think the big amount of them will be at the green and gold game. So that'll be definitely interesting to watch to see, you know, how many they do get out there, you know, as they're kind of trying to fill out this class a little bit. They have a lot of top, you know, key guys currently that they're still working on, but they have a good start to the class as well. So they can be a little bit picky and try to get guys on campus, because at the end of the day, when June rolls around, that's going to be the ultimate goal. Try to get as many guys on campus as possible for those official visits. And, you know, getting them on campus for the green and gold game would be a nice start there. But in other news, recruiting-wise, Craig, the one main note that I do have this week is Ohio State offensive line transfer Max Ray. He's a grad transfer. He'd have 3 years of eligibility, 6'7", 308 pounds. Hasn't played a lot for Ohio State, but has been behind some really veteran guys there for the Buckeyes. So he's in the portal. I know Baylor definitely has some interest in him, and he would be a huge talent. He was a top 100 player coming out of high school, and he'd fill in pretty nicely for Baylor at the right tackle spot, which they're trying to find, you know, a solidified starter and add depth there.
Grayson, thank you, man. Appreciate your time. As always, SicEm365 recruiting analyst Grayson Grundhafer with some basketball notes as well, along with football. Open practice at McLean Stadium tomorrow. Gates open at 10:30. We'll be there. We'll have a handful of our crew that will be there from SicEm365.com and radio, and so have some pictures and whatever else we can get your way, and some post-practice from Dave Aranda. Coming up next, Curtis Gerald's one of the great players in Baylor basketball history, 4-year starter. In fact, for 2 years straight, led the team in points and assists. That's hard to do, and he's next on SicEm365 Radio. If you have something, a muscle or perhaps a ligament, something that hurts, and it hurts more than it just sore. It hurts and you can't sleep well. It hurts and, well, you can't even sometimes function. It's just kind of like a bad toothache, but it's a muscle or a ligament or something that maybe you tore, pulled, or whatever. Ideal MRI can help you out. Your doctor may tell you, your orthopedic surgeon, man, we need to get an MRI. And then you need to suggest, okay, I need to ask you about Ideal MRI. IdealMRI.com in the Central Texas Marketplace, right there inside that big, large shopping area, right off of I-35 to the south in the exit road to Loop 340 and Highway 6. Dr. Rob Maxey and his staff have put together an amazing place that can help you save money, $497 or less every time there's an MRI that you need. And the average MRI cost is $1,100. So imagine that you're going to save money every single time. And in fact, maybe hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So when your doctor says we need to get a better look at that, a muscle, a ligament, whatever is hurting badly, you tell them about Ideal MRI in the Central Texas Marketplace, and they've got the state-of-the-art technology and that big, huge MRI machine. I've been in it. It's unbelievable at IdealMRI.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Teague with Grimes on him. Now here's Mitchell. That matchup, Sasser defensively. And Mitchell hits a three as well.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak and Craig Smoak.
Waiting on Curtis Gerald's. Got so many good notes from various coaches on Curtis Gerald's and players as well. We'll hear from Jeff Brokamp, again, Maceo Teague's former high school principal, who's been a major factor in the Maceo Teague week going on in Cincinnati, including first pitch against the Reds tonight. Men's tennis, we had Michael Woodson on yesterday. They were rolling, right? Texas thumped them last night, 5-2. They'll play TCU on Sunday. They win that match, they can still get a share of the Big 12 title.
Yeah,
it seems disappointing.
Like in those sports, it's whether it's volleyball or it's men's tennis or it's whatever else, it's like this wall they can't break through all the way when it comes to Texas.
And they'd beaten them twice in a couple of earlier matches.
Yeah, I mean they've beaten them, but when it comes down to now when you really need to beat them, you can't get it done. So yeah, that's disappointing, and hopefully they're still able to somehow find a share of that title. Also, a note on the Rangers. We had Levi Weaver on this week. They won again last night. You know what? John Blake put this up, the Rangers director of media. The Rangers last year played 30 games on the road, the shortened season. They won 6 of 30 games. They are 4-3 on the road this year. Yeah, it's a kind of topsy-turvy season, but they've been fighters. They've scratched and clawed a little bit. They're not, a really good team, but they're decent, and they're going to win some games. So they're being entertaining enough. I'll say that about the Rangers. Curtis Gerald's, one of the greats in Baylor men's basketball history, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. He's had himself, of course, fun at the parade and Baylor's national championship. Curtis, thanks so much for joining us. What did that national championship, the parade, and all the things that went with it mean to you?
No problem. Thanks for having me, man. It meant a lot. You know what I mean? I think that I didn't really understand. I don't think a lot of us alumni, we don't really understand how much it meant until it actually happened. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of when you decide to go to school and pick a school. At the time, I think you just want to play basketball, and you're not really understanding what you're doing until after you've done it, and then it's been a few years. So, I mean, it was absolutely important for us all, and I was really happy for, everybody that's involved, everybody that's kind of been through there, some of Coach Drew's initial staff, and everybody, man. It was amazing for us.
Kind of sticking with that same theme, Curtis, as you watch them throughout the season, but especially once they got into that tournament, the Villanova game was tough, but outside of that, I mean, it was pretty much smooth sailing. Just what were your thoughts observing this team from start to finish and wrapping it up the way that they did?
The most thing that was impressive to me, man, was just the fact that they were able to play defense at such a high level, but still also be offensively talented at a high level. And that's something that's very, very rare. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to a couple of my buddies. I was like, man, you may have, 2 great defenders on one team, but you can't play them both at the same time if they don't give you, what you need on offense. You understand what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
But these guys, everybody on the perimeter can guard, inside they can guard, but they can also score. So it's kind of like, you don't lose anything by saying, hey, you might have a defensive specialist who can't score. But these guys, their defensive specialists, he was able to, he can get baskets, man. All of those guys, the perimeter, them guys, really good defenders. So that was what was most impressive for me.
You know how hard it is, I would think, to lead the team in scoring and assists, but not just do it once. You did it twice, and you had an amazing stat line to score, but also dish it out and be unselfish. Did you sometimes, is that just something that came naturally to you, but you were so explosive you could score as well?
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that. I think I did it all 4 years. I'm gonna just say that.
No. Yeah, you did. That's right. You did all 4 years. Shame on me, Curtis. I misread that. Yeah. You started every game your first 2 years, and then you led the team in scoring and assist all 4 years.
I started every game for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So, for me, it was like I said, man, you don't really understand, but it was amazing for me, man. I think I just really concentrated on, I just loved to play. And we had a lot of guys that were good offensively. So it was like a lot of the times my assist could have just been, passing the ball to the side, swinging the ball. You had guys like Darius Dunn, Tweety Carter, Henry Dugat, guys like that who were just great scorers. They kind of helped me and made me look good. But I'm a natural scorer, and Coach Drew really put me in a position to be successful. All of us really.
Curtis Gerald's with us, SicEm365 Radio. You were on the NCAA team that allowed them to get back in the tournament. Then the NIT team, even though the regular season didn't go well in the Big 12, you guys played Missouri. You had a monster game, had a monster year. How much did that team, because in earlier, what was it, in 13 or 14 at Baylor when they won the NIT, that kind of set them up for the current run they're in right now. How much do you think that run in 2008 and 9 set Baylor up for the following year?
Well, I think what we were able to do is, a lot of people say we made it, quote unquote, like cool to be at Baylor, and the coaching staff, they're very particular with their recruits. Like, if you look over the years, you can kind of compare one or two guys to another, 2 or 3 former guys. And one thing that was special about Coach Drew, I watched it when I was looking at this team this year, but I've always been able to see it, is that, whatever you work on, he's going to let you do inside games, but he has to trust you with it and see you put the work in to do that. So if you take this team, right, they played a lot of one-on-one. It looked like that from the outside, but they were finding the matchups and taking advantage of those matchups, where some coaches are a little bit embarrassed, if, some of your talent is kind of winning you games. But I think a part of being a great coach is also, too, understanding the type of guys that you recruit and putting them in position to be successful. If that means letting them kind of play a little one-on-one or pick and roll or whatever it may be. So you have to be able to manage the guys that you bring in, right? I can't bring in someone who is a natural-born scorer and say, hey, I want you to play opposite. Because that player won't give you he won't give you what he can, because it's not what he's used to doing. So I really commend those guys for that. But the team that we had, like I said, the other guys saw us and saw how we played, and they was like, man, you guys look like you're having fun, you're being loose, you're enjoying each other, and that's kind of the grounds that Coach Drew had started, and also allowing us to play comfortably and having fun while we do it.
Okay, I'm going to throw out about 5 or 6 different titles of what we could talk about, and I want you to pick which one you want to share with me. The green Bentley, the food, the food truck, the $5 pizza, the great dancer that you are, the handshake line at Texas after you graduated, and here's the one that Paul Mills gave me during the Big 12 tournament, the pus gutter game. What the hell is that? You had surgery on your mouth, is that correct?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Probably on purpose, yeah.
Well, that one, it was like in high school, I had my tooth, I broke it to the nerve, so they have to do some stuff to it, and they just kind of put a little piece of whatever, and so it kept getting knocked out when I got to Baylor, and so I got it replaced or whatever. And I don't know, man, I woke up the next morning and my face was swollen, and that was bothering me so much. And the only option at the time was to drain it. And so I went up to the arena early, and like I said, I didn't go to a dentist at the doctor's office, so they didn't have, these the numbing and all that stuff. It was just hey, we need to put a needle to it, boom, and drain it. So they did that. It was painful. And, that later that night, I think we played Missouri. Mm-hmm. And I had a heck of a game, man. And, I couldn't really talk much and do much, but at the end of the day, we got the win, and it was fun. But, yeah, that was really painful.
All right.
Thankful for me that day.
You are a rock star during the alum game week when all the alums come back to campus. You've come back every year. In fact, Jerome Tang said you're as loyal as anyone they've ever had because you committed to Baylor, and when someone asked you about where else were you looking, you kept saying Baylor, 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 and obviously a part of that next step for Baylor. The green Bentley, you bring that back when you come back to see all the other players?
Well, see, I had a green Range Rover.
Okay, all right.
The Bentley is red. Yeah, the Bentley is matte red, but the green machine, yeah, I had the green Range Rover. And a quick story about that was I was a cash car that I got. It had one previous owner, but the dealership couldn't get off of it because it was like a apple green. And so I said, man, you know what? I'll take it. And when people ask me, I'll just say, hey, I got it because it's Baylor green.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually a lot cheaper than the white one I was looking at. And they were the same model, around the same mileage. So
that's awesome.
I said, I'm going to take the green one, yeah.
Are you a better – so what kind of food in the food truck? What is the specialty of Curtis Gerald's in the food truck?
Oh, so with a food trailer, it's owned by myself and a childhood friend, Daniel Thomas. And it was actually his idea. You know, we've grown up. He had a million ideas, and, you know, we've had 500,000 terrible ones, or maybe even more terrible ones. But when he came with this idea, I was like, man, you know what? You got something. And so the baked potatoes they're enlarged potatoes, right? So they're not your average potato.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of split them open, and, you know, we could put anything. And then we go from salmon and asparagus to chicken and steak. We go chicken, shrimp, sausage, corn. You know, we have one of them is it's a stir fry, so it's like full of vegetables, you know, mushrooms, and we got this little like a teriyaki sauce that goes on it. So I mean, it's kind of endless because when you think about it, potatoes are a side dish to kind of anything you want to eat. So yeah, we put that together, opened up a food truck. We hopefully, you know, well, I mean, I think we're at the point now where we're gonna have to kind of look into brick and mortar because you know, the food truck is kind of when it gets backed up, you know, people don't like waiting. So
no, people are impatient.
Absolutely. So we're probably going to have to go brick and mortar soon. But, yeah, that was the idea of it, man, and it's been doing pretty good for me, actually. I mean, I never thought that it'd be something I'd be into, like the food service, but, you know, kind of here I am. So.
Where is it at?
It's down. It was down here in Austin. I'm down here in Austin in my hometown. Okay. It's on East 11th Street, so we're, like, right in the downtown area.
All right, we'll do that. Now, are you a good dancer, or is that just a dumb question? Because I know your answer is going to be yes.
No, I'm a great dancer. You see, there's not too many things I can't do, you know. But if it's something that I can't do, I'm going to try to learn it and master it. But it's just the guys that I was around were so terrible at dancing, man, that it just made me the best dancer. So that was it.
So is it one of those you always run with somebody that's slower than you in case some animal comes outside? You got to always make sure somebody's not quite as good. It
wasn't intentional. Look, I didn't know any of those guys before, you know, I went up to Waco.
Mm-hmm.
It was, you know, it was just a placement. So at the end of the day, I'm the best dancer, I'm the best singer, and that's just, you know, that's how it rolls.
You have played in Serbia, Turkey, Spain, Italy, Russia, Israel, recently with Poland. A lot of Baylor players have played overseas, and we've talked to a lot of them, in fact. What's that experience been like for you?
You know, it's been great for me. That's another thing that I never pictured myself doing. You know, kind of coming out of school, it was always about the NBA. My short experience in the NBA had nothing to do with my ability to play. It was like I got a real hard hit of the business side. And when I went over to Europe, I ended up in Serbia because Coach Pop is Serbian. Greg Popovich is Serbian. And they kind of, you know, funneled me in that direction with good people and a good team. And from there, I went to Turkey. I played for Fenerbahce, which is like really one of the biggest teams in Europe. And they actually run their program kind of NBA style with the facilities and organization and things like that. Efe Udo actually played there, won a championship there. after I did. So I just started to, kind of see. I fell in love with Europe. Like the people, the fans, they love you, they respect you. It's basketball, and it was like I kind of looked at it as an extended vacation because I started to, some people save up money all year and things like that to go to Europe. Some people never make it to Europe because they're just not fortunate enough. And I was over there living there with free room and board and getting paid to play basketball. So I just kind of fell in love with it. For sure, my experience with the business side of the NBA kind of kept me away. But I said, man, I can make a living this way and be here. And, my family got to come over to see me experience different things, different cultures. And I think what it did most, because I didn't have anybody like around Austin or even none of the former guys at Baylor that I talked to really about that played at a real high level in Europe. So I didn't have anybody to talk to me about it. When I got there, some of the guys started to see me and see how, hey, Curtis, you're not in the NBA, but he can live comfortably. He can, take care of his family and things like that. So it gave them a lot of confidence, even though they didn't make the NBA. And guys like, Tweety, Henry, and AJ, and, even Pierre, all those guys, man, they would contact, hey, how is it? And I was able to give them real insight on it, you know what I'm saying? Because, I was kind of experiencing it. So I think that was one of the best things about it for me, yeah.
There's probably at least a couple dozen. Now, we had Epe Udoh when he had just landed in China. He called me one day and said, hey, call me X time tomorrow. And he had just landed in China late that night, and I talked to him the next morning, along with many others that we've talked to as well. So Coach Drew said, ask him about jumping in the handshake line at Texas after he had graduated.
Yeah, man. So Texas, I didn't get a win. My 4 years, I didn't get a win. In fact, the only win against Texas was in the Big 12 tournament, and that was my senior year.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't get a win at Austin, which would really mean a lot to me, But I attended the game. I was, I think the mistake that they put me like about 3 or 4 rows up. So I think if I was a little bit higher, it wouldn't have happened. But okay, I was, behind the bench. We got the win, and it just took over me, man. It was like, you know what? I feel it too. So I jumped out there and I put my horns down. And then, since I was on the court, I just jumped in the line. Like, you know what? I'm here. So, yeah, we got you. We got one. And I don't care if I didn't play, but we got it.
Well, that's kind of like how everyone's soaking in this national championship, right? I mean, you guys have become such an amazing family. Even guys from the team decades of the 40s and 50s were enjoying the parade and being a part of this.
Well, yeah, one thing that you'll hear guys say is that, Baylor is a very family-oriented place. And it's not just talk. Like I talked to some guys, over in Europe, and some of my friends, you guys go back. No, forget that. I don't ever go back to school. Forget that school. And I'm like, man, y'all don't go back and play in the summer? And like, nah. So, it's not something that's kind of, just got given across the country. But Baylor really is a family-oriented place, man. And, those guys, like I get texts from, Coach Drew, Coach Mills, Coach Driscoll, Coach Tang, like all of those guys are always texting me, talking to me, just kind of checking on me, checking on my family. They would check out some games. And it just, it kind of makes you feel like a family. But even when I was there, those guys were like, they were like dads, like you call on them whenever you need them, in the middle of the night. It didn't matter, man. Like those guys were always there. So that's what it really is about, man. That's why we all feel a part of it, because of the way, they treated us when we were there.
Was there
Curtis, I have to know, what was the reaction of Drew or Tang or anybody when he jumped in that handshake line at the end of that Texas game?
They was just like, yo, celebrate.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Cool.
Because it was like, but I don't think they even, nobody, it was just me, man. Like I don't know. It just took over me, but like I said, they wasn't tripping because, hey, beating a Texas school, was a big thing. You know what I mean? So we enjoyed it, man.
Curtis Gerald's with us on SicEm365 Radio. I know we've taken a lot of your time. Did you ever, and it's been such an incredible run of great news surrounding the Baylor men's basketball program, but I don't know if you heard the story earlier today. Nelson Haggerty, who played at Baylor, was on Grant McCaslin's staff at North Texas. Unfortunately, had a one-car vehicle accident and passed away earlier today. And everyone,
wow.
Did you ever meet Nelson at all? Obviously, you did not know that story.
Okay. Well, I probably have to see a face.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't really hear the name, but I'm great with faces, man.
Yeah, he played before you and well before you, so I'll send you a picture of it. He just wanted you to know in case you had known him or had remembered him at all. But that was it's been such an incredible run of stuff, great stuff, great things, and obviously he'll be remembered quite a bit for the rest of the day and also into the future as well. Curtis, it's been great. I didn't get a chance to cover you. I came right after that 2009-10 team, but I've heard so many things about you, and you guys helped set the table, and no question about it. I even saw, I was looking at the roster when you were there. Lace Dunn, Tweedy, Lomers, Rogers, Dugat, you mentioned him, obviously Epe. And then Quincy Acey was a freshman. Anthony Jones, who's a really good player. Fred Ellis. Mamadou, of course, you had to have the mayor. I mean,
absolutely.
Man, you guys set the table, didn't you?
Man, we did. And, I think for us, like I said, we were all just trying to get our feet up underneath us. Even like the coaching staff with their strategies and their, the identity we wanted to build. I mean, we all came from different places. I mean, once you get a guy like Tweedy to come to Baylor, the McDonald's guy, and Kevin Rogers, him and Henry, those guys are 5 stars, and then Lace comes behind. So we had a lot of good pieces. Like I said, we was just learning, man. But we enjoyed it, and we definitely enjoyed being the base of the house, man. So somebody had to do it. So.
We have had almost every one of those players at some point during the season on. There's been a couple. Aaron Bruce, we just missed out on. He's in Australia trying to resurrect his career. But it's been unbelievable to talk to almost every one of them, including now you, Curtis. Thanks for your time so much. Somebody wanted to give you money if you wanted to sell that shiny green and gold hat that you had, I guess, at the parade. I can get you in touch with somebody. I know him. He's
Tell him to put it in the bid. Tell him to put it in the bid.
I will tell T-Rex to be in touch. I won't give him your number because you'll never forgive me if I do. But other than that, I'll tell him. Thank you, Curtis. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me.
Boy, that was fun, huh? How about just the topics? It could be like Jeopardy topics. Green Bentley, or now you said red Bentley, right?
I'm just glad that wasn't a recruiting story.
No, yeah.
That's the first thing I thought was Green Bentley. Like, let's be careful here.
The pus game. God. Yeah. The dancing $5 pizza we didn't get. He was a part of that incredible 5 overtime win against A&M as well, and the handshake line against Texas, plus just a great player. When we come back, Jeff Brokamp in Cincinnati. Maceo Teague is throwing out the first pitch. I remember when he put that up on Twitter, and they're going to let him do that tonight in Cincinnati. It's been Maceo Teague week, and his former high school principal will join us next on SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. 1 out of every 3 men, maybe you, have symptomatic issues when it comes to low T. Means your testosterone levels are too low. Means something's going on with you as you get older. And sometimes you may say, that's for older guys. Like, I'm 61. Maybe you're thinking about older than that. Maybe it's in the 40s. It could be you if you've started to have some things that happen. For example, your energy, you're somewhat lethargic. It's just not quite the same. Your sex drive is down. ED, you're having problems with that. Or your sleeping habits. It could be all of that. Could be one. Could be some. Could be PettyClinicLowT.com. Contact them. Tell them Smokey sent you. What Dr. Petty and his staff will do is set you up to get your lab work, blood work. He will check your testosterone levels, and if they're too low, he will put you in a program to raise them up to be the man you want to be, the high-performance man that you want to be. It's also more than just testosterone. PSA checks, of course, with that as well. That's so huge for prostate and making sure prostate cancer is not anything on your radar. Could be just overall wellness, how you feel as a man at PettyClinicLowT.com. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available, touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool, upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts, and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott at edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
All right, so yesterday in Hinesville, Georgia, they had a parade for Davion Mitchell and then, of course, gave him the key to the city and all sorts of other things. The Baylor basketball team in the city of Waco, the parade on Tuesday, the national championship. And I mean, it continues. Maceo Teague week in Cincinnati. He will throw out the first pitch tonight in the Reds game tonight. And Jeff Brokamp was his high school principal at Walnut Hills High School, who knew Maceo Teague growing up, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Jeff, a lot of things to get to, but one of them is just how proud are you of Maceo?
Well, we've been proud of Maceo for a long time. This kid, from the day he walked into our high school, showed a work ethic that was beyond any athlete we'd ever seen. He would, but to answer your question, very, very proud. And probably the best evidence that I could tell you in a story about Maceo is he would work out in the afternoon. Walnut Hills is a college prep school, very high academic standard, one of the top academic schools in the country. And Maceo had a lot of homework. He had probably averaged about 3 hours of homework a night. And he would go home, eat dinner, do his homework after he worked out for a couple hours, and then he'd come back and work out shooting for another 2 or 3 hours. He did this every night, except for the weekend nights. And, you know, when we saw the dedication that young man had, we knew that he was going to be something special. And, you know, the accolades he's receiving along with his teammates, you know, who I'm sure are just as dedicated as Maceo, is very, very well deserved. But we saw this coming for a long time.
I spoke with Maceo's mom, Barbara Brooks Teague, many times. And so I spoke with her earlier today. And I said, can you give me a favorite Jeff Brokamp story about Maceo? And she thought about it. And she goes, oh, yeah, I do have one. What was your impression the first time you saw him, when the first time you met him, and he had his shoulders kind of back? Do you remember what you said about Maceo at that time? Because he was doing what his mother had taught him to do about get your shoulders back, because he had those big coat hanger shoulders. Yeah, he sure does. Maceo's got a huge wingspan. I'll tell you frankly, I don't remember what I said. I can't wait to hear it. She said that when he walked in, because he had, you know, he was a wiry, tall, obviously, but he had his shoulders back, and sometimes there are some young men who might walk that way that are kind of cocky, you know, kind of a little bit frisky. And she said that you had came back one day and said to her, I just thought he was arrogant the way he was walking because he had his shoulders back the way he did. And then you realized, man, no, that's just the way he walks. Yeah. Well, yeah, and Maceo, and I can hear myself saying that, but that's the furthest thing, as it turns out, from the way Maceo is. I thought you were going to tell an even better story. All right, you can do that one. Maceo, when I was a principal at the school, and my daughter dated for about a year. And Barbara came to me one day and said, you know, listen, we're not getting enough practice time in the gym after school, because they work, you know, he'd work out for a couple hours with the team. And then we had about 90 teams, literally, that played at the school interscholastically. And, you know, they would practice until, you know, 7, 8 o'clock at night, maybe 9 o'clock. And Barbara said to me, she said, Jeff, I'd like a key to the gym, because the custodians lock the gym after the teams leave, and we'd like to get in there about 9 o'clock and work out for a couple hours. And I said, well, Barbara, we're not really in the habit of giving players and parents keys to the various, you know, rooms of the school. And she said, Jeff, you and your daughter and Maceo are dating, right? And I said, yeah. And she said, do you trust Maceo with your daughter? And I said, I sure do. And she said, well, couldn't you find your way clear to trust him with the key to the gym? There you go. Well, there's Barbara. Yep. That is Barbara. And lo and behold, the next day they had a key to the gym. And and you know something, really Maceo's story is more than just about Maceo. It's two tremendous parents. Sean and Barbara are the epitome of supportive. You know, Barbara would be in that gym at night with Maceo, just feeding him ball after ball after ball after ball, working on his shot. And she was right there with him. She was quite an athlete herself, from what I understand. But, you know, this is really a story about a family and how they, you know, instilled in their son that, you know, not to settle for second best. And so, you know, all the credit in the world goes to Maceo, but his parents as well. He started out, obviously left Walnut Hills, went to UNC, Asheville, and then ended up at Baylor. Were others? How many other schools were involved in his recruitment? Like some of the other names that when he picked Asheville? Well, actually, you know, Maceo after high school went to prep school for a year, and he had offers, but the offers he wasn't satisfied with. I know he had an offer from Akron, which was a good program. If I understand, he might have had an offer from Yale as well. And that's not unusual. At Walnut Hills, the kids would get offers from the Ivy League schools because they knew that the kids would come there and not worry about the academics. You know, they do well there. So, and I think he had a couple others, but
Barbara told me that they were going to turn down his offers and go to prep school for a year because Maceo was a year young for his grade. So when he graduated, he had just turned 17 when he graduated from high school. So, there was some logic to it. But, I remember so well, Barbara said to me at one point, I said, Barbara, he's got some nice offers. And she said, Maceo's North Carolina. Maceo's Duke. Maceo's, that's who he is. And I remember her so vividly saying that. And, I thought to myself, here's this kid, at the time, 6'3", yes, he has a big wingspan and he had a competitive fire and a very high basketball IQ, but he was kind of a tweener. And he was not the point guard, at Walnut Hills. So, he's a three guy. So, the notion that he was going to go to a top level D1 school, there was some, you could easily find some doubt in that. And again, it's just a testimony to what makes this kid tick. And so he went to prep school, then he went to UNC Asheville, and I'm not sure how many offers he had at that time. But here's the one thing I've learned about Maceo: you don't ever underestimate him. Mm-hmm. This kid pulls through and pulls things out of his hat. I mean, when he was in high school, he won some games for his high school team that it was almost humorous the way you could predict that he was going to get the ball at the end of the game and go win the game. And he just got a fire in his belly. He's probably not unlike the rest of the kids on Baylor's team, but he's a really, really special kid, no question.
He had looks that, he wasn't someone outwardly you could kind of tell, but there were some video. I remember some looks that he would have. He'd make a shot or make a play on defense. He just seemed to do that. Did you ever see the video of him against Gonzaga chasing down a ball out of bounds, reaching out, flipping it back on into play, and then rushing all the way to the other? Yeah, that just something that doesn't surprise you at all.
Something. There's some kids, and you've seen this, and he's not a kid anymore. But I remember me as a high school kid. But there's some athletes that play in fifth gear the entire game, and I don't know if their heart's a little bigger, their lungs are a little bigger, or they process whatever. Who knows what makes that be the case? But Maceo is a kid where he plays in fifth gear all the time, unless he's strategically slowing down or slowing the play down, the course of play down or whatever. But Maceo has an engine that is just incredible. Always had, but he's always got that extra gear at the end. He would create moves, in the lane against some teams in our area, high school teams that were great teams with some really big guys. He'd create moves in the lane at the end of the game to create baskets that were, like I said, it just became kind of humorous. Everyone, people who watched him play look at each other and say, here we go. Yep. He's going to do it again. And, it's a mark of a great athlete.
It was pretty cool to see him be the one that kind of put the ball into motion for the Reds' first pitch that he'll be able to do. But, just what do you think it means for him to have all of this attention from, the community, from the Cincinnati Reds, from just the city of Cincinnati? What do you think that means to Maceo and his family?
Well, I think it means even more for Maceo than it might for some other young athletes because, Maceo is the kind of kid where while he had supreme confidence in himself, he's really kind of an inward person. And so he doesn't spend a whole lot of time gauging how other people feel about him. And so I think it's been a little bit of a surprise to him. I think it's been a little bit of shock actually that so many people would want to, participate in his victory and just in the pride that, he brought to his school and his city and his family and that type of thing. I think he's surprised by it a little bit, frankly. He's just that kind of kid. I don't think he would have ever expected this, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, it's a big city. 300,000, right? Cincinnati is Waco is what is Waco, guys?
We're not Cincinnati.
No, we're not as big as Cincinnati.
130,
40,000. Is that about right? But I mean, Cincinnati's it's a Major League Baseball, so it's a pro sports town, you know. So they had
it's a huge metro area.
Oh, yeah.
Huge metro. I mean, there's a couple million people in the metro area. Yeah.
So you had the shout-outs Monday, tweets, all that, then the scholarship award donation Tuesday, the Maceo Teague Day officially at Wednesday, the throwback Thursday, and then tonight. Now, you're a part of this, Jeff. I know you, in fact, the first pitch is at 6:30, so about 45 minutes from now. I remember when he put something up, maybe responded to a Reds tweet or something about, hey.
No, before even the national title game, I think it was like, what would it take for a kid from Cincinnati to throw out the first pitch? And then after they won the title, the Reds came back and responded like a day later.
How did that work, Jeff? Did you get involved in that?
Well, not in that. The City Hall thing, I had made some contact, but for the Reds, it's actually the athletic director from his high school. The guy who was the assistant athletic director at Walnut Hills when Maceo was there. The Reds have a community fund that runs all their youth baseball operations, like every Major League Baseball outfit does. And the man who runs the Reds community fund happens to be a graduate from Walnut Hills, and knew our assistant athletic director, who's also a graduate. They might have been in the same class, actually. I'm not sure, but. So I know the two of them, were conspiring to do this, and it's a big deal. It's the recognition that Maceo's got. It's so timely, guys. I mean, our whole country's been, in kind of a tough spot. As you know, the last 15 months, and Cincinnati has suffered along with most major cities. With kids not being in school, and this really has lifted a lot of people in this city. And, maybe in another time, it wouldn't be as important as it is right now, but it's a big deal.
Hey, Jeff, thank you very much. Thanks to Barbara for setting up contacting with you and you being able to come on. We kind of talked what day, and today I thought was perfect with the first pitch. And we're so thrilled for him. He is, there's so many of the players on this team that are so incredible as just human beings, much less as basketball players. They're already incredibly talented basketball players, very tough, but Maceo is one that just is perfect, the epitome of who they are. Davion, Jared, all of them. Amazing. Thanks for your time very much. Have fun tonight.
Hey, I will. Thanks, Smokey. Have a good one. Take care.
Jeff Brokamp, principal at Walnut Hills High School, Cincinnati, on Maceo Teague Week, and also the National Championship Guard. Every one of those players, Craig, it seems like every one of them has got that kind of a story, that kind of personality, that kind of person.
Yeah, they do. They have a good group of guys, and, we just talked about it so much, but, they do. And they, have a lot of guys that they know can go to the next level and be great representatives, and, Maceo's certainly one of those guys, and I'm sure he'll get a big round of applause tonight and enjoy himself. Wonder if he's nervous at all for throwing out that first pitch, at a major league game.
Oh, I would be, yeah.
It's something that he wanted, obviously. He's the one that kind of got the ball rolling in that regard. He's the one who sent the tweet to the Reds to first even create the idea, really. So something he wanted, obviously, and just the good times continued. I thought it was, really interesting kind of how he wrapped it up there with just how much this has meant to the community. So I think that's great as well, that he's having that kind of an impact already. And, future's bright for that young man and a lot of guys on this team.
Pro Sports Town, they're honoring one of their own in Maceo Teague tonight, and the Reds against the Cleveland Indians tonight in Cincinnati. When we come back, a couple of notes to wrap up this 4 o'clock hour. Jaron McVeigh and Matthew Powledge will both join us based on some stuff from yesterday with practice. A couple other notes. Looks like there's a chance, 50-50 chance Dejanay Carrington might join us sometime between 5 and 6. Plus, take your calls and text at 254-339-1122. SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They've got their sales going on fast and furious right now over at Richard Carr. It's a great time to go and take a look at a new vehicle, and they've got plenty of not only new vehicles but also used vehicles with thousands of dollars in savings that can be yours during the 22-year anniversary sales event at Richard Carr. And those deals include 3 big rows of first-class seating, power, technology, safety, and superior driving ability. That's what all makes the Enclave second to none. And during the Richard Carr anniversary sales event, you can save $8,500 on Buick Enclaves. They also have the power and luxury combined in the GMC Sierra. Save $8,000 on a 2021 GMC Sierra, or save $7,000 off 2021 GMC Acadias, or save $6,750 off GMC Terrains. Richard Carr Motors, your local family dealer and proud Baylor Bears that want to earn your business with great prices, free oil changes with a new purchase, and priority warranty service on all vehicles purchased. So come by their clean and disinfected showroom to take a test drive, or let them bring the test drive to you. It's the big 22-year anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr. And Richard Carr, of course, wants to say Sic'Em Bears. Congratulations to the national champion Baylor men's basketball team.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville, but we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, "You know, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters." And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
All right, this 5 o'clock hour is about to begin. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina back maybe Friday, if not a week from Monday, excuse me. So, still working on the Dejanay Carrington. Hey, Armstrong, do you have the picture of the drawbridge? The video? Yeah. Craig, did you see that?
I've seen this stupidity, yeah.
It's nuts. So Paul was bored, probably sitting at the airport ready to fly out, and he showed, okay, there it is. We'll show that again. This is a car that must have gone through the gate.
Well, he clearly went through the gate. Yeah, he's armed down there that he's bust right through it.
Oh, I didn't see the arm. Listening. Oh, okay. I just now saw the arm.
The drawbridge is opening and this car just flies over.
So let's discuss this. First of all, that's nuts. Second of all, how much longer did he have before?
He had plenty of room. I think everybody's blowing this out of proportion.
I don't know, like, he can't jump that. He can't jump that.
Watch the car when it hits the air. Like it's a little bit of a
how
jump.
Much more? But look, how much more time does he have? Like
2 seconds?
When the bridge is at this angle,
right there.
Here.
Then you
can't do that there.
Because you're going to hit the back in front of your tire. Yeah. So he had maybe a second or two?
He had maybe a second. He had maybe 2 seconds.
Could you do that?
I would love to try that. Now, I don't know that I would. If I was guaranteed safety, I would maybe try that.
Seems like every time I watch it, it looks like he's closer and closer to killing himself.
I don't know if you can see this, but when he hits the bar, it shatters his windshield.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So let's talk about this. That is going to be a massive ticket.
Yeah, he's going to be arrested for that.
He should be, because one, he's not endangering anybody else, it doesn't appear, but he's endangering himself. Underneath the drawbridge, it looks like there's a bridge, like a walkway. Mm. So I don't know if there are pedestrians or whatever. That the cost of just the whatever that is that comes down.
I can't imagine that wooden arm costs that much. It would be just putting the price would be on having to
the windshield's $500 deductible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really thinking about what he has to pay for his own car, but yeah, I mean, he's going to definitely. I don't know how they haven't arrested him yet. I mean, you'd think they'd have a pretty clear view of the car, and I would have to think there's other cameras around there. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of gnarly that he did that. But I'm imagining that it's not going to be nearly as cool when they eventually catch him. It's not going to be nearly as cool of a moment. But yeah, that was definitely one of the more interesting things we've seen this week for sure.
Does he not think there's security cameers that are going to catch his license?
The guy's got to be late for work or something.
Yeah,
he just doesn't care.
I want to know this
because it's going to be a lame story or he's just an idiot and it's just like, I don't care and I'm just going to jump this. I don't know, but
wanted to do it or he.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably somebody late for something. Yeah. Just because why else would you do that? Yeah. I mean, I guess there's the thrill of it, but. Yeah, who knows? That's
how my dad drives when we're late for church.
Just hopping over bridges and
so you can make sure you don't miss the sermon.
Yeah.
And the sermon might be about driving and something to do with the religion and driving or whatever. So Paul sent that was on a text to us, and I
looked. He hadn't been arrested yet, or she, whoever it may be.
Well, everyone on Twitter is like, if you turn this man in, you're a terrible person. This man does not deserve. This man deserves an award.
Well, if he might be Evel Knievel's like third grandson or something. I don't know. You never know. But that's nuts. That right there is nuts.
That is nuts.
That is not. That's not something that we should do at all, ever. I still wonder how many seconds did he have left before he
I think he had another second at least. I mean,
1,000, 2, 1,000,
look, it's barely
3, 1,000, 4.
Look at the car when it goes over the gap.
Yeah.
It barely even, like, you could barely even tell that he hopped over something. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it looks like he hit one of those speed bumps.
Exactly. It looks like he hit a speed bump and just went airborne for like a second, but he doesn't get very high. It doesn't look like he traveled very far before his tires hit back on the ground. Like, look at they're right back on there. He didn't even really go up over too much room.
I think he's got another second or two before he's dumb.
Right here,
yeah,
I mean, he's still going to make it, though. It would just be a much rougher landing. But, yeah, I mean, he couldn't have waited too much longer for sure.
Wow.
But he caught it right at the right time to have a pretty relatively free landing. And, see, I don't know how they haven't gotten that license plate yet, but it doesn't look like he's got a front license plate.
Oh, they've had to have caught him by now, right?
No, they haven't.
Oh,
I just
really?
said that.
Okay. Oh, okay.
No,
I thought you were talking about when they first tweeted that out. All right. Man. All right, when we want to, Armstrong, we'll start with Powledge here. You want to go to him? Okay, now, in 2019, Baylor was 11-3. We know they won at least, 3 games or so, last second, field goals, block kicks, whatever it was. But they won, and they were 11-3, and they could have easily been an 8-5 team or something like that, but they were 11-3. They also could have been better than that because the Oklahoma game, they had the big lead at halftime, and they just couldn't hold them off, and they went in overtime against Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game just 2 or 3 weeks later. And then Georgia got them pretty good. But special teams, I've always loved special teams, not just pretty good. If you can win the hidden yardage battle on kick and punt return ratio as far as plus and minus yardage, that means punters that give you a chance to cover, that maybe they give you that extra 1 or 2 or 5 yards every time there's a punt in the game, that you gain field position. Block punts, block field goals, kick returns, punt returns. Graylin Arnold, now Treston Ebner. Last year, Baylor special teams, even though they led the nation in explosive kick returns, as Matthew Powledge talks about with Treston Ebner, I don't consider them last year very good special teams. They were erratic at times, whether it's punts or kicks. In fact, John Mayers, his father, had a chance to visit with him during the game, the practice on Saturday. There were certain things that he talked about with his son on getting a little bit too crunched up when he went to make a kick, or Isaac Power on punting. He wasn't trying to tell Isaac how to punt, but exactly about the drop and how effective that is. Craig, this team is not that talented and even not that good, but they are going to have to be not just good, but to me they have to almost be elite special teams to become a bowl eligible for sure team.
I mean, yeah, probably to be bowl eligible for sure. Last year, like you said, it wasn't very impressive as a total package. Ebner was great. Big 12 special teams player of the year. Some other areas were okay. I actually asked, he talks about it. What were the lowlights and highlights of last year? So that's what he discusses, and you can hear him tell it. But no, I mean, there's obviously a lot of room for improvement. Ebner was good early, but he didn't have, kind of the big returns that you would expect maybe against some of the bigger opponents. I feel like he kind of won a lot of that award early on, quite frankly. Not that he was bad. It's just that a lot of what we remember was very early in the season. Like the Kansas game was the first game of the year, and that's when he had, like the big explosion, and then he never had an explosion like that the rest of the year. That was the very first game. So he can certainly improve upon that, and he's going to have the ball in his hands as much as possible, as you'll hear Powledge talk about. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of room for improvement, but that goes across the board for this team, and that's why it's spring drills and what you're supposed to be working on.
All right, so here is the safeties coach and also Baylor special teams coach. He's got some work to do, especially with special teams, Matthew Powledge.
Well, Coach, how's the safeties group coming along?
Really good. I feel like we have 6 guys right now that are competing, playing really fast right now, being generals kind of in the back end, being great communicators. I think that is a little bit different than maybe where we were last year from a depth standpoint. So that's really, really exciting.
Yeah, that was one of maybe the thinner groups. Do you see that depth building? And are you, because I asked Jaron, if he was locked into one spot, are you trying to get guys locked into a spot?
Yeah, a little bit more so. Jaron, since I've been here, he's been like our Mark Vital, on the basketball team. He's kind of been our glue guy. Did a tremendous job last year from the standpoint of played 3 different positions, played them all well. At some point in time, was starting, at all 3 positions. Depending on the game, some of the COVID stuff, injuries, so on and so forth. And then did a tremendous job on special teams too. And in saying that, we're kind of focusing him a little bit more on one spot, and I think we've seen him kind of develop this spring and get a lot better just by focusing on one thing. And then we've had a couple of guys really step up this spring, whether that's Lorando Johnson, who we call Snacks, and then Devin Neal. That kind of gives us 6 guys that we feel really good about right now. And then we got some other guys kind of in the wings that I think in the future, could have an impact in the program.
Coach Aranda had mentioned because of depth, like potentially looking at guys. Is that something that y'all continue to do, like moving a corner to safety, kind of getting a glance there? Yeah, absolutely. So Lorando came from the corners room. We kind of made a swap with Al Walcott, moved him to corner, who had been at safety. I think both those moves have been really good for both guys, and I think both guys could probably play either position. But what are they best at? We were trying to figure that out this spring, and it's really worked out for us. It's been tremendous.
And I guess you've got, if you look at your special teams across the board, you pretty much got everybody back, it seems like. How nice is that to kind of come into the spring knowing that here's our guys?
Yeah, it's been really nice. John Mayer's coming back, Noah Rauschenberg coming back, Isaac Power. We bring back Thor and Gunnar Royer from a snapping standpoint. And really, they're all of them are doing a tremendous job competing. And we have competition, really all over the place. Bryce Bolin from Waco Midway has had some really good practices and kicked the ball really well this spring thus far. So it's a group. It helps you a little bit. Kind of sleep better at night as a special teams coordinator, and those guys are trying to take their game to the next level. So I think just overall, it's been great.
What about having a return guy like Treston Dot?
Oh man, Treston's a special. When they're kicking off to him, he just has great vision, and obviously that athletic ability that he has. But he has a great feel for things too. So I think you're gonna see him kind of build off what he did last year in the return game, and it's awesome, man. We got some guys that are excited to block for him too. I think that's always exciting. I think it's easier, when they look back there and they say, okay, this is what I'm blocking for. We got a chance to score, so that's fun.
When you look at special teams last year, what were you maybe most proud of, or feel the best about, and what areas did you in this offseason look and go, okay, we've got to get really a lot better here? Yeah, I think probably the high points, obviously, for us is, from a kickoff return standpoint, I think we led the country in explosive returns. I think we had 7 over 40 yards or more. So that was a high point, and was really excited about that and building off of that. Noah had a high touchback percentage last year. That's exciting. And then, we won a ball game, on the last kick of the game where we executed field goal protection and John knocked it through the upright. So those were some of the highs. Those were the things that I saw last year and took away, like, man, we got something to build off of. But I think a lot of areas to improve, kind of in the coverage game, kickoff coverage, punt coverage, eliminating explosives from the other team, just being elite in those categories. And then from a field goal block standpoint, I think 2 years ago, that was an area where, hey, the other team lines up to kick a field goal and they don't know if they're getting those 3 points. And this spring, we've been getting our hands on some balls, and some guys have done an excellent job, especially defensively, kind of buying in, having a motor on that 4th down, and it's been exciting to see. So those have been some things we've been really trying to improve and focus on. So that would be it probably.
Matt, will Abner do punt returns too? Or?
That's interesting you asked. Right now, he's kind of the first punt returner.
Okay.
There's a couple other guys working that spot that are excellent punt returners, to be honest. And so they're kind of competing with Treston for that spot. I think they all want it,
Yeah.
So we'll kind of see how that goes and how that transpires. I think that's a spot right there where you kind of put a premium on ball security, who can field the ball, go get the ball, keep the ball off the ground from rolling an extra first down, things like that. And also at the same time, once it's in their hands, if all is equal, who's more dangerous?
Drew, one of those guys.
Yeah.
Drew Estrada.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Treston, one of those guys. Josh Fleeks, one of those guys as well.
Who were the other safeties? You mentioned 6, or you felt like you were pretty strong with 6.
Christian Morgan, Jalen Petrie, and JT Woods.
Okay.
Yeah, those 3 to go along with Lorando Johnson, Devin Neal, and Jaron McVay.
Mm-hmm. JT and Christian have been around a while now. What's kind of your focus with them and heading into this year, what you want them to improve upon?
Yeah, so I think last year they did a tremendous job just as far as, alignment, assignment, doing their job, knowing their job, lots of production out of those guys. And also, you really dial in and, kind of get a magnifying glass out and look at some of those games, and there probably could have even been more production. A lot of that kind of boiled down to maybe fundamentals, technique, knowing where my help is, things like that. So with this spring ball now, that's really been a focus for us. Number one, know where my help's at, know who I can play to. Number 2, our technique, our footwork, right, our eye progression, things like that. So I think, we're transitioning better, we're breaking better, we're seeing things earlier. And I think what you're going to see is more production out of those guys, which is good, right, because they were productive last year as well. So yeah, those 3 starters are a good 3 to bring back.
All right, that's Matthew Palage, Baylor safeties and also special teams coach on SicEm365 Radio. It's been a whirlwind of 24 hours. Last night, the WNBA draft, and 2 players from Baylor, both Dejanay Carrington going to Connecticut and also Dede Richards to New York to play for the Liberty. And Dejanay Carrington, we spoke with her after, of course, she decided to move to the WNBA, and we speak to her now as a member of the Connecticut Sun, drafted last night. Dejanay, man, we appreciate it. I know you're traveling. There's a lot going on. What is it like right now that you're in this moment? What's it been like for you?
It's super exciting. This is what you dream of as a little girl. And to see all my dreams starting to come to fruition and just taking shape is amazing. It's also been a whirlwind just because I am going across the country and I leave tomorrow. So just trying to pack up things and get all of my affairs in order before then.
Did last night go off kind of the way that you expected or the way that you dreamed of hearing your name called?
I don't know. You can't really ever prepare yourself for it. I was just as surprised as everyone because I got a call after it had already aired on TV. So when I was watching and my name popped up, it was a surprise to me and everybody else across the country. So I was, super excited. I'm so happy to be going to Connecticut. I just thoroughly enjoyed all my conversations with their staff prior to the draft. So it's going to be a perfect fit for me.
We saw when they called and announced your name, and then I think there was also a conversation as well. They're thrilled to have you as much as you seem to be thrilled to have them.
Yeah, definitely. We had great conversation. I know how much they love my game and how much that they're going to help me to develop it and get it even better and fine tune the good and, pick up the bad.
Dejanay, do you find it kind of ironic that, the season ended against UConn? Here you are, you're going to the state of Connecticut. How much do you really know about, Connecticut and where you're going to be going?
That's funny because I did a live yesterday and that was one of the things that I said, which is so funny. But I don't know much about the state of Connecticut. I know that Connecticut, the team, the Sun, that they're a very strong team and they have been for a while. I know that they have great players and I'm super, super excited to learn from them, from Grand January to Alyssa Thomas, Jasmine Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, just a ton of talent there. And to have John Claude Jones back as well, it's just going to be a really exciting year. And grateful to be able to learn from them.
So you're on the West Coast now, or have you flown into Central Time? I know you got to go there tomorrow. So where are you right now?
I'm in San Diego. Yeah, okay. I'm on Pacific Time.
So you're Pacific Time, and then all of a sudden you're going to be East Coast Time. And it's not like you've never been. Well, I mean, you've played games on the East Coast. Have you ever spent much time in the East Coast?
No, I don't even know how many games I've played on the East Coast, honestly. I feel like it's maybe a handful, not many, though.
Right.
Being at Stanford, we didn't play many there. And this year with Baylor, a lot of non-conference things got canceled. So, East Coast is going to be new. My dad is actually from New York, though, so I know I have a lot of family right over there. And my brother is playing in the XFL in Boston, which is only 2 hours away. So I'm happy about that part for sure.
Dejanay Carrington, now part of the Connecticut Sun, former Baylor and Stanford star, with us on SicEm365 Radio. Dejanay, what is it like, even though coming out of high school, people wanted you to play college basketball, and when you decided to leave Stanford, Baylor and others wanted you to be on their team? What's it like knowing they probably want you, but there's not a lot of teams, and you really don't know if your phone's going to ring?
I don't know. You just have that confidence in yourself. I never doubted that whether my phone was going to ring or not. I just trusted the process. I know God has a plan, and it's His timing, and He has already ordained my steps. So all I can do is just, stay the course and continue to try to honor Him and make Him proud. And I know He's going to lead me down the right path.
It's a pretty quick turnaround from when you're going to be there tomorrow, and then all of a sudden the season starts, I think, within a month. I'm sure training camp, whatever they do. Have you had enough downtime, decompression time from the tournament to get ready for that?
It is a quick turnaround. We had to declare for the draft 2 days after our last game, and then from there, I literally got home the day before yesterday. So I haven't been home long at all, and I'm leaving tomorrow. Training camp is in 10 days, and then the season starts about 20 days after that. So everything, is just about to ramp up. But this is what you dream for. This is what I did, all that hard work over the past, 15 years since I started playing basketball, So at this point, I don't want to stop, Right. I'm ready to just keep the ball rolling.
Well, you weren't the only Lady Bear pick last night. Dee Richards is headed to New York, so I guess you guys are going to be pretty close together. Connecticut to New York, I don't think is too far of travels. What do you think about Dee being a member of the Liberty?
Yes, we literally FaceTimed like 10,000 times yesterday. But but when last night I was like, friend, we're so close to each other. It's only going to be like a 2-hour drive, blah, blah, blah. And we were just so excited. But we kept saying, we're going to get drafted to the same team. We're going to get drafted to the same team. And I'm like, but she kept saying that. And I'm like, no, we're not, Dee. No, we're not. But then the fact that we're as close as you can basically get between two teams is super special. And I'm so happy for her and all that she has persevered through.
Yeah, it's been great. It's so many good stories from the two of you. In the end now, your thoughts, you move on to the next level. This is what you, as you said, worked for so long. Baylor's in your rear view mirror, but they will always be a part of your heart, right? And what has it meant to you?
Yeah, absolutely. They took me in and took a chance on me, and so it's just Baylor will for sure always have a piece of my heart, and I'm definitely going to come back to Waco whenever I get a chance to. I love the team that I was able to play with. I love the coaching staff and all of our support staff. So I wish I would have got to interact more with the fans, but COVID limited that. But it's been amazing in my time there for sure.
Dejanay, congratulations, and we really do know that you kind of went out of your way to be a part of it with us because of the travel and your schedule and late night. What time did you eventually go to bed last night? I heard that people were up pretty late last night. I know Dee had a late night. Was it really late to kind of have just to celebrate a little bit?
Yeah, I think I probably went to bed around, I don't even know, probably like 4 a.m., honestly.
Wow.
3 a.m., 4 a.m. What? That's Pacific time, so you guys, it was probably people were waking up for work.
Yeah, and by the way, if it was 4 a.m. Pacific, you know that's 7 a.m. now where you're about to live, right?
I know. Yeah, I was getting texts about good morning when I was going to sleep from Connecticut, so it was like, uh-oh.
That's amazing. Hey, thank you very much, DJNA. Congratulations. Lady Bears fans say thank you. Enjoy it, embrace it, and good luck.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
DJNA Carrington now with us, now part of this Connecticut Sun. DG Richards, of course, a part of the New York Liberty, and we hope to get her on maybe by Monday. But there's no question, L.A. or New York for DD Richards, and she's going to be in New York, the fashion capital of the world.
Yeah, she I think maybe Paris would have claim to that, but New York's right there for sure. And it couldn't have been really more of a perfect spot. I mean, Los Angeles, you can't really beat the weather out there. That would have been pretty sweet, but New York is A-okay, and yeah, DJNA won't be that far away. I mean, I guess you could drive, or there's also the trains that you could take Connecticut to New York, so I'm sure she and DD will reconnect pretty quickly and quite often, and just happy for both of them. I mean, to get to this point, you can obviously hear how thrilled she is to be living her dream, and I would imagine DD would echo a lot of the same comments, and she was clearly excited, posting stuff all last night. So, yeah, just really happy for them, and hope they stick around the league for a while, you know. I mean, we've known
still got to make the team.
Odyssey Sims, you know, didn't stick around the WNBA for a really long time, and it was the girl from Iowa State that was like the Big 12 Player of the Year, didn't even make the first round of cuts, you know. So there's no guarantees. Even if you're drafted highly, but I have confidence that both of those two will be able to stick around for a while.
FaceTimed each other about 10,000 times yesterday, and DD kept thinking they'd get drafted by the same team, but they're close, New York and Connecticut. Congratulations to DJNA and DD. Thanks to DJNA. Thanks to Annette Howard of the Connecticut Sun for being a part of helping set that up today with all the travel and all the schedule for DJNA Carrington. When we come back, 5:24, a couple of notes that we have, some other stories as well to get to. We will hear from Jaron McVeigh at some point, not this next segment, but a little bit after that time. Craig Smoak and David Smoak, Paul Catalina back in about a week. Cole is here, Jack is here, and Armstrong is here, and we appreciate you being here. This is SicEm365 Radio.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don's Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Purdy escapes, throws downfield, and intercepted. Jalen Barnes comes up with it. Their best cover corner has a broken thumb.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now, here's David Smoak and Craig Smoak.
All right. We'll have Jaron McVay from post-practice yesterday. I got a little clip from C.J. Rogers. Remember him, the preferred walk-on quarterback at Argyle? It's like 5 seconds at the most. Barbara Teague just sent me a note about the interview with Jeff Brokamp. She had forgotten all about the story where she suggested, well, he's dating your daughter, right? Can you trust at least him to have the key to the gym? Here's an interesting note. I don't know if it is for you, but it is for me. We mentioned the Rangers have won 4 road games after winning 6 all of last year over 6-24. Elias Sports Bureau. Last night, Adolis Garcia of the Rangers is the second player in Rangers history whose first Major League home run came in extra innings. The last time a Rangers player had his career home run or his first ever Major League home run come in extra innings was when they weren't even the Rangers. In 1961, they were the Washington Senators, a guy named Bud Zipfel against the Tigers in 1961.
Yeah,
a little random.
Yeah, I mean, it's really random, but it's interesting. You know, that's kind of a time and place thing. You know, that's not really something you can plan for, obviously. So, yeah, cool moment for Garcia last night with that homer. Rangers win and get a really nice series win over the Rays. And, you know, they're playing around, 500 type of ball, which is better than I almost expected the way the season started off. I was expecting them to be well below 500 probably for a majority of the season, but they're scrappy. And they've got a little bit of talent here and there. They're just really, young in some ways, very inexperienced in some ways, which they're working on. But, yeah, it's been a good start to the season for the Rangers, and he was certainly one of those bright spots last night. But I still wonder how, Elias Sports Bureau, what kind of formula or software they use to figure those kind of stats out. Because, I mean, how could you – there has to be – some deal that they use, because how else would you be able to go through every baseball game, every extra innings game, finding a player who hit a home run, then finding a player who hit a home run in his debut, or his first career home run isn't extra innings home. Like, how they find that, I have no idea, but very cool for Adolis
Lots
Garcia.
and lots of, you would think, interns, right?
I mean, even then, though, like, what do you, like, how?
Hundreds of them, maybe.
No, there's got to be software, because how else would you'd have to go through every single game, practically.
It would be up to the organization's media relations department to go almost piece by piece
Which they wouldn't do that. That would take way too much time, and there's no way you spit out a stat an hour after the game's over with. So, like, I don't know. I'm interested to know what they do use, because they have those, like, 30 seconds after it happens.
You know what I'm going to see?
And there's nobody that's, like, sitting there going, hey, you know.
There was a guy from ESPN Stats that put up a note. I remember it was during football season. I was blown away by it, and I asked him, I said, can you come on and explain how in the world that even came into your mind to have had that stat the last time in the first place? And he kind of told me he would love to do that, but his job is not to be out in public. His job is just to do his job.
Yeah, and also, you know, there's a lot of random stuff that people come up with. It's just that. It's completely random. You know, like some of those ESPN stats. It's like, this is the first time in 43 years that a person born in Lincoln, Nebraska with red hair shot 10 of 13 from, you know, like that's some of the stuff.
On the road or something.
Yeah, like that's some of the stuff that just gets silly, and that's just trying way too hard to come up with a cool stat. But there are a lot of cool ones out there. That one on Adalis Garcia is cool. But, yeah, I do wonder how that – because if he did that, they had that stat probably, you know, within an hour after that was over with.
Yeah.
So nobody sat there and went through every rookie who played an extra innings game, who then also hit his first home run. You know, I mean, that would take days to find that out.
And they spit it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I'm always sort of intrigued by how they do that.
So Sports Illustrated has the cover with Trevor Lawrence on it, as you would expect, the draft coming up in a couple of weeks. And here's a quote from him, and I do like this, because I think sometimes players or athletes are almost like feel like they have to say they have a chip on their shoulder. Armstrong, do you have a chip on your shoulder? Have you always had a chip on your shoulder, whatever it might be, as a student, anything? Competitively, any kind of chip on your shoulder?
I don't know.
Do you have to be in competitive something to have a chip on your shoulder?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Craig?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure I do. It's not something I've really given a lot of thought to.
You hear that a lot, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the players have a chip on their shoulder. Yeah.
If you ever been bypassed for a job that made you feel like, okay, and it maybe gives you a little more fire. Not that you didn't have fire in your belly, you just didn't get the job because of timing, or somebody else was a better candidate, or time, you know, whatever. Trevor Lawrence, I love this quote. First of all, he's a tremendous player. I'm passionate about what I do, and it's really important to me, but I don't have this chip on my shoulder. I can't manufacture that. I don't want to.
Well, yeah, and how could he? I mean, that's the thing, is he's been the number one everything since he was born, basically, in sports. He's a national champion. He played for the top program in college football, not named Alabama. He was the number one recruit. He's going to be the number one overall draft pick. He's always been thought of as being great. They've never torn him down, you know, the way we've seen others torn down. So how could you have a chip on your, like, what could you possibly be, you know, have any angst about? You're not ever talked about in a bad way, unless you lose like the one game in 2 years that you lost, and then even then it's not really on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders so much. So
unless something happened to him early on that may have created that to get him to where he was as far as at Clemson.
Right, but outside of some personal issue that we aren't privy to, no, I mean, he doesn't come, you know, in with I guess a whole lot of, boy, I can't believe he overcame that. I mean, he's always been the guy. He's always been the guy. So, yeah, I would imagine that is hard to manufacture something. I like that he's not trying to pretend like he does, because I think there's a lot of people out there, sometimes when you read sports quotes or whatever, it's kind of the same cliches, and chip on the shoulder is certainly a sports cliche that's used probably, you know, more often than it should be, but I understand why. But I like that he's not pretending like there's something there. Some guys have to create like these fake chips on their shoulders or fake rivalries or whatever to motivate themselves. That's self-motivation, and that's how they go about getting it. But I guess Trevor Lawrence just knows he's good and goes out and does his thing.
Now, Armstrong, did you get that video? Did I send it? I don't know why it's not going through. I texted it to you as well, but it's a video of C.J. Rogers. How about the city of Spokane, Washington?
I just got it.
Okay. All right, so this is C.J. I don't know if you let me know when you're ready. This is C.J. Rogers. He's a preferred walk-on quarterback at Argyle. He's coming to Baylor, right? Look how he's practicing the angles of throws. It's nothing. It's like that's practice. There's a guy running at the front of the end zone. But look at that, because you hear about Mahomes, and I'm not trying to compare, but you hear about those weird underarm kind of sideways, like Blake Shapen has kind of that, can throw it from every angle. Well, there's C.J. Rogers, and
well, if he makes a throw like that in the game, then we'll be wowed. That's for sure.
Yep, no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, think Patrick Mahomes is going to lead to a lot of guys trying to do that rather than actually just it coming sort of naturally or just being something they stumble upon as being, a skill that not everybody has. I think we're going to see a lot of, like the high school and college ranks, guys trying to do the no-look passes and stuff like that. But, I mean, that's an impressive throw. He had some velocity on that as well, and sometimes you do have to make a throw like that. So, I know there are a lot of people excited about what he could potentially do, not soon, because they have a pretty full quarterback room that's on campus and competing right now. But somewhere down the line, I don't think it would surprise, it wouldn't be a surprise to some people if he ends up being a really good player for Baylor, and that's why they brought him on.
Leon Barmore, remember him? He was the associate head coach at La Tech back when they were really good. In fact, Kim Mulkey was the guard back then. Gary Blair, who's at A&M, was a part of that staff. Sonia Hogue was a part of that staff who came to Baylor. Then Leon Barmore came to Baylor when Kim took the job and was a part of a long time, was a part of her staff. The story yesterday about the Naismith Hall of Fame, that Michael Jordan is going to present Kim Mulkey, that was not the original plan. Kim actually sent a text and told me that she had reached out to her mentor in Leon Barmore, and she wanted him to present her to the Naismith Hall of Fame, but he was not able to do it for health reasons. And, of course, that is May 13th through the 15th, so he wasn't able to do it. So then it became Michael Jordan.
Oh, that's not a bad second option to have.
So, and Leon Barmore, for anyone that knows Kim's career, you read the book about her, you know anything about her, she talks about him. He was here when I got here in 2010, Hall of Fame coach, multinational championships at La Tech along with Sonia Hogan. And again, Kim was the guard there, the point guard there. But he's the one. That's, if there was someone that she leans on about coaching or things at all, that's it. But he's not going to be able to make it. So that's why Michael Jordan is presenting twice. One, Kobe, and that'll be incredible. And then, of course, also now with Kim Mulkey as well. So that's a backstory to that.
Well, that makes sense. A lot of people were trying to figure out. I saw that, questioning if somehow Mulkey knew Michael Jordan on a personal level or if there was any sort of a connection there. But, I mean, that makes sense, and it's unfortunate that Leon Barmore can't make it, but it's entirely understandable, at what his age must be, and just also given that, folks in his frame or those dealing with health issues, aren't going to be probably very gung-ho about traveling cross-country and to give a speech and all that. But I'm sure he'll have something very nice to say to Kim if he hasn't already.
And yes, we one of the things to me it's good is that when I first got the credential request, I was like, well, wait a minute, is this going to be virtual? The credentials are going to be virtual for media, but they're going to have the event. It's going to be at the Mohegan Sun in Las Vegas. We did mention off the top of the show, wanted to kind of come back with this, that former Baylor basketball player Nelson Haggerty, who's also on staff with Grant McCaslin at North Texas. Remember they had that dramatic win against, Purdue? He's a Willow Ridge High School star, played at Baylor from 91 to 95, led the entire country in assists per game at 10.1 per game in 94-95. He was killed in a single vehicle accident in Decatur in Wise County. So that was a sad story today involving Baylor basketball. There's been so many great stories, and that was one that unfortunately was a downer today as well.
Yeah, and apparently he was at the parade earlier this week. Is that what Curtis said, I think?
Yeah, he said, well, I need to send Curtis the picture because he can't remember whether or not he was there or not.
Somebody else said that. But Baylor baseball, it's very sad news. Very, very unfortunate to hear that news. I did want to pass along as well. Baylor baseball postponed their game due to weather, so they're going to have a doubleheader tomorrow starting at noon. So you can maybe go over to the football practice and then hop over to the baseball doubleheader or vice versa. I guess you can't. The football practice will be what? Oh, is it in Lawrence? Okay, so never mind. I thought that was here. So, never mind. Kansas weather is going to postpone that till tomorrow at noon.
How are we going to peel you away from all the other things going on this weekend for you to be at football practice tomorrow?
Who are you talking to?
To Armstrong.
What is all that going on this weekend?
When does Equestrian get to is it the
quarter? They just lost. I was going to tell you.
Yeah,
they just lost to SMU.
Okay, well, they had the shocking win. Armstrong was could not keep his eyes off the screen.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, they did. It was a controversial win against. Okay, so SMU knocks them out.
8-7, baby. I mean, Just knock off.
So
42 game win streak for Auburn snapped.
2-year defending champions, and so that's over. Do you have the video from the mayor of Spokane, Washington?
Which one is that?
From me to you at 11:13 this morning.
Okay, hold on.
I sent you a lot.
I know.
Like I put a lot on your plate today. So there was a bet between Mayor Meek of Waco and the mayor of Spokane, Washington about Gonzaga, Baylor. You always see this, or governors do it. Could be a crate of barbecue or a cow. I don't know. But this is now, think about this. This is gonna be tough to swallow right here. So here we go. There's the video.
Hey, Spike, that package from Texas is here. Here you go, Spike.
So for those who are not watching, it's Gonzaga's mascot taking a box up an elevator.
Up in a crate, up the elevator, going into the athletic offices, up the floor. And this is a box that was sent from the state of Texas to Gonzaga. And there's elevator music. Now he's in the offices. Members of the Gonzaga, City of Spokane.
Hey, fantastic season, Spike.
Fantastic season. This was shot after the loss to Baylor.
Not good enough.
No.
Come on in, Spike.
Well, here's the mayor's office or something.
Okay, let's go.
The box is on her desk.
Well, Mayor Meek, a bet's a bet. Your Baylor Bears had a great season and played a great final game against our Zags. You and the rest of Texas should be very proud of your team, just like we are of the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Congratulations.
And there goes the BU flag, the green and gold up on the top of the flagpole.
Don't worry, Spike. We'll get them next year.
There you go. Spokane City Hall.
That's pretty cool.
There you go. There's the video. That's got to suck, right? I mean, you got to do that, but that's part of the bets, right?
I think it's got to suck to be a fan of Gonzaga and just never win a national title. I mean, I think that's got to suck. Probably worse than raising that flag. But I mean, next year they'll be loaded. I'm sure, like the preseason #1 and all that jazz, or preseason top 5 at the bare minimum, I would think. But yeah, that's tough. I wonder how many people drove by who have no idea about Baylor basketball, or just like, what is this random flag flying in front of City Hall? But no, that's good exposure and a nice little payoff.
She said Gonzaga. Did you hear it was?
Apparently that's how you're supposed to pronounce it.
Yeah, which is it's good to know.
Gonzaga, yeah.
One other note, Baylor-wise, the Michael Johnson Invitational. Baylor ranked 23rd in the overall national rankings. You got Texas and A&M and Iowa State all in the top 10. That's this weekend. The Clyde Hart Track and Field Stadium. The Michael Johnson Invitational, which is an elite event in Waco coming up this weekend. So there's that as well. There's a lot going on. Yeah, well, let's enjoy it, because there'll be a lot not going on. At this time last year, there was nothing going on. Month and a half, and there wasn't anything last year at all at this time. So, yeah, it's nice to have a lot of activity going on. If you don't have a tee time for this weekend, you want to play golf in the Waco area, don't forget about Bear Ridge, the golf club, Highway 84 just south of Waco. Tee time at 254-848-7800 with Tommy Tompkins, and his staff have done is fantastic. They've revitalized a course. Now Bear Ridge. It was Bear Ridge, and then it was Twin Rivers, and then it became a wreck, and now it's Bear Ridge. It's renovated and a nice experience. Call for a tee time. Go south of 84, just outside of Waco. When we come back, we'll hear from Jaron McVay, the safety, a little 2 or 3 minute clip from him. A couple other notes, Cole and Jack and Armstrong, Craig and David, SicEm365 Radio.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. In a long business meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
All right, wrapping it up today. You have no idea what goes on in the commercial breaks. Cole and Armstrong go straight to the Papa shot. And Armstrong's getting to be pretty good. Cole, I haven't really found out, haven't scouted you enough. Armstrong, you're getting to be pretty good at this. Like, you are real. Craig was doing that for the longest time, and he kind of stopped doing that.
Today, I played Drake, and I destroyed him. 25-16. J.D. and our other intern, A-Rob, they both got. Who is that? He's an intern that is only in here for up-tempo, but they both got 8 in a minute. Drake got 16. I got 25. So you what does that say?
You got the stopwatch going.
Yeah, we had the stopwatch going.
And you go
8 in a minute?
8 in a minute. That was bad. They were just straight up
bad.
They were just straight up trash.
So do you get to shoot either one of those baskets, or do you have to hit one?
You have to hit yours.
Okay.
And if yours bounces into the other guys,
the other person gets credit for it.
Yeah.
Kind of like in golf, a guy has a ball that's sitting a couple of feet away from the hole, and you hit an approach shot and hits his ball in the hole. What happens?
Yeah, they get to count it.
Do they get to count it, or do they have to put it back to where it was hit? Because if it's on the green, if it goes in the hole, I wonder if I don't know that rule.
Because if it's on the green, you put it back where it was.
Yeah.
But I wonder, do you get to put it back where it was, or do you get to choose if you want to leave it where it is? I don't know, actually.
Well, if your ball is on the green and somebody hits an approach shot, hits your ball, and it gets it closer to the hole, I think you still have to put it back to where it was. I don't know. That's a golf. I
think you're right.
An old guy, he's gone now. Reggie Howell used to tell me he would go. I was at one point about as high as I ever got, was maybe just under a 5 handicap, which means I was okay for a weekend golfer. And he's a scratch, and he played in all the state amateurs, played in the British amateur, played in all these amateurs. High-level guy. He told me he would one time, I was a 6, let's say I was a 5 or 6 handicap. So what is that, Armstrong? I'll give you 3 shots each, 9, whatever.
Yeah.
He said he would give me 18. I was like, you're nuts. No, he said he'd give me 18 strokes. I was a 6 handicap, and I was like, why? He goes, you will be breaking so many of the subtle rules that are not on purpose.
Yeah.
That you have no, like even as simple as marking your ball, some guys don't know how to do that right. A friend of mine always marks it behind the ball. It's kind of weird the way he does. Hits the ball in front of the tee shots on the tee shot. You can't do that. But there's certain things like that. I don't know what the rule is with that. Of course, you have rules officials that can call you over. And then Bryson would take an hour.
Yeah, he would.
Your buddy DeChambeau. All right, Craig. So Petrie. Yeah, Powell said there's 6 safeties. Is that right? Got Petrie, McVeigh, Milton?
No. McVeigh, Woods, Morgan, Petrie, Lorando Johnson, and Devin Neal.
Devin Neal, okay. 6 deep, he thinks, at the safety position. We heard from Powell about that and some special teams as well. Now, McVeigh made a real subtle play. He played all 3 positions last year, the various safety positions. Your thoughts about him? I remember he made a play in a subtle win against somebody, tripped somebody up near the goal line. It might have been the Kansas game. I can't remember. That was a big-time play at the time. Kansas State, excuse me. So your thoughts about Jaron McVeigh?
I mean, for a guy who was a walk-on, he's turned into a really good player, and he's not very big. I mean, that's the thing is he's kind of on the shorter side, but he makes it work what size he has. And, they're happy about what he's doing, or at least they appear to be, excited about what he's doing. And I guess it was Powledge that, compared him to being their Mark Vital, as far as just kind of doing anything that's asked and just being a glue guy. So he's made a positive impression as far as being a teammate and also last year as a player as well, more so than ever before. So he'll be in the mix. Powledge said they like their depth. I don't know if 6 safeties is great depth or not, especially when you're using 3 at a time. So he feels good about it, but we'll see. I know there's some other guys waiting in the wings that could be, potentially playing as well if they need to, if injuries hit or something like that. But they feel good about the 6 they have, including McVeigh.
Okay, hey, Dee Richards is available right now. Armstrong, I just sent you her number. You want to play McVeigh to give you a couple minutes to get a hold of her, or what do you want to do here? Because that's like about 2 minutes. All right, here's Jaron McVeigh after practice on Thursday. Tomorrow, don't forget, they open the gates at 10:30 at McLean Stadium, and then the open practice, and we'll, of course, be throughout. Here's Jaron McVeigh.
Jaron, what do you see from the safety so far in the spring?
I would say tremendous improvement. Everyone's learning their craft more. Everyone's honing in on the details, their technique, and everyone's starting to play the ball more. I'm seeing a lot more interceptions from the guys. We already had quite a bit last year, but we're getting even more now, so good improvement.
Do you feel like maybe an extra responsibility this year as one of the veterans?
Yeah, I see myself as a leader on the team, helping the younger guys learn the defense, helping them run to the ball. That's the hard part. So, yeah, I see myself as a leader.
How would you describe the chemistry now with Coach Roberts and the rest of the staff a year removed from first getting to know them?
Oh, man, I'd say plus 100%. We're like a family. Everyone knows whenever Coach Robert he gets on me a lot. When he gets on me, I don't take it personal. I know he wants to see me be a good player. When Coach Powell gets on me, he wants me to be a better player. So no one takes any of that personal. I feel like that's the biggest improvement. We want to win, so everyone's in the same direction.
Jaron, are you locked in or are you moving around the different? I know they've kind of rotated some guys around.
Right now I'm locked in one position at free safety, so that's pretty.
Free safety?
Yeah, that's nice for me because I played all 3 safety positions last year, which was a lot, but I'm here to help the team, so anything that they need me to do, I'll go to it and try my best at it.
You saw a lot of time last year. Just what was the experience like? How did that change you as a player and just, getting better overall?
Yeah, it was great, playing anything to help the team, so that experience I gained really helped me become a better football player. So yeah, hopefully I can translate that to this year.
Sharon, obviously you could have moved on. What was your, what did your decision come down to in terms of coming back, and what do you see out of that opportunity, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I love working with Coach, I call him Uncle Ron, Coach Roberts, and Coach College, and I'm here for my master's too, so everything just worked out perfect for me. So yeah, another year.
What's your master in?
Geology.
Okay.
Having a year under Coach Roberts, does that help? Do you feel like you know the defense better?
Yeah, I know the defense a lot more, especially playing multiple positions. I know the in and out of the defense probably more than other people. So yeah, I try to help people learn it and do that.
What do you see from the leadership side of the defense?
Yeah, there's great leaders on defense. Terrell, Petey, Christian, JT. Everyone has a leadership role, even more than just those guys. So everyone plays their part and everyone does their job.
Kieran, that defensive line was really young last year, a lot of new guys in there. What are you seeing from them, their growth? Are you seeing development there, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. Coach Wren has been preaching dominating the line of scrimmage, so they're dominating the line. I don't get to see them too much because I'm focused on receivers and stuff, but yeah, they're doing their part, which is nice to see.
How different is this offense, facing this offense versus what you've done the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's a dynamic offense, so they do a lot of different formations, so they have a lot of playmakers, so it's a dynamic offense.
All right, thanks, Jaron.
All right, that's Jaron McVay, Baylor safety, with practice yesterday. We heard from Matt Pallage, and also, again, tomorrow, open practice at McLean Stadium. And how about this to wrap up a week? J.D. Richards of the New York Liberty, former Baylor All-American and one of the greatest and fan favorites of all time with the Lady Bears on SicEm365 Radio. Did you ever even sleep last night?
I didn't. I really didn't. And I've been trying to catch up today, but it's not working out so well.
Well, because I'm bothering you, and we were asking people like me are asking you to come on the radio, but we're thrilled for you. We had Dejanay on just like 30 minutes ago or so, and she said you guys FaceTimed each other 10,000 times yesterday.
Oh, my God. We were calling each other all day. We were both trying to calm each other down, and I think we did pretty good.
Dee, what was that moment like for you? Is it what you thought it was going to be like to hear your name called?
Oh, everything and more for sure. I feel like you prepare for it all your life. Like, you try to, plan your reaction or plan what you're going to do or whatever. And it kind of just, takes over. Once you get called, it's like you don't know what you're going to do because it's something you've been waiting for your whole life. And it was just, a whole bunch of excitement just took over.
You got pretty emotional, didn't you? Which I can understand. It's a new part of your life. It's something you've dreamed about. I saw the family there, and did it all just kind of just all of a sudden hit you?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of start thinking of, the journey you had to endure along the way. And it was just crazy to know that no matter what happened, I still, kept my head on straight and found a way to get to the goal that I was trying to reach all along.
So, Dee, how does New York City sound as your next home?
Amazing, actually. I think that's right up my alley. What do y'all think?
Yeah, we figured New York or Los Angeles, you'd be pretty good in either place, but New York will definitely work.
Right. Yes, sir.
So you did a cut-in, I think, with Hannah Storm on ESPN, and I believe that she asked you about that, and you were like, well, I mean, my goodness, it's the fashion capital of the country, right, of the United States?
Exactly. That's why I belong there.
What if it would have been somewhere besides New York and L.A.? I'm sure you would still be thrilled because it's the WNBA, but did it make it even more special because that's where it is?
Definitely. I think everybody or anybody would be excited to be in New York for sure. So I think it made it more exciting to go out there as early as I am because we literally are set to go out there on Sunday. So I'm just excited to be a New Yorker.
Yeah, it sounds like you and Dejanay, you already talked about how close you guys are going to be, Connecticut to New York.
Mm-hmm. We are just a train right away.
There were 331,000 people that watched the WNBA draft, which is relative. It's the largest they've ever had. Do you feel like it's because they were waiting to see you?
I'm going to say that now. Now that you said that, I'm just going to say it's because of me. I don't care if anybody else goes there and they want to watch me.
Is it a blur right now, all of what's gone on?
No, everything really is happening really fast, so I can say that. There's a lot of new numbers in my phone. I keep forgetting names. There's just a lot going on. I'm just trying to keep up with it. But, I mean, there's a price that comes with the lifestyle for sure.
So you go, and now I think training camp will probably start. You said you leave on, Sunday? Training camp immediately. The game season starts like 3 weeks after that. You just got finished playing in a year. So that's a quick turnaround for you. Have you had enough time to take a deep breath and maybe get back and decompressed?
I haven't, but I don't know. I've always been the type of person that, lives life on the go and lives life in the moment. So I'm really just taking it for a ride and trying to figure out where it takes me. I'm really excited. I am. Like, I'm so happy. New York GM and the head coach took a chance on me. I just can't wait to get out there.
You said you had a bunch of text messages. Dee Richards with us of the New York Liberty. How many text messages did you have? You remember?
Oh, after once my name was called, I put my phone down because I had to, go on ESPN and talk. So when I picked my phone up, then I had already had 117 messages. So I just literally put my phone down for the rest of the night, and I came back to it this morning, and I ended with 312.
Wow. Dee, thank you. I know. Go get some sleep. Go get some rest. Enjoy it. I know you will. I saw you on ESPN. You look thrilled, and everyone's thrilled for you as well. Congratulations. It was so much fun to cover you, and it's great to get you on today.
No, thank y'all so much. There's not going to be any radio station like y'all, I promise.
Thank you very much. And Dee, there may not be anyone like you either with the Lady Bears. Thanks for your time. Dee Richards.
Thank y'all.
Of the New York Liberty. Appreciate the time. Last second edition, both she and Dejanay Carrington the last hour of the show. All right, thanks to Jack McKenzie. Cole, thank you as well. Thanks to Armstrong Sims. Sonny Dykes of SMU, Grayson Grundhafer. Curtis Geralds was great. Matthew Powledge. Jeff Brokamp on Macy O'Teague in Cincinnati. His first pitch, by the way, high and tight is what it was. His opening first pitch with the Reds. Jaron McVay. Dejanay Carrington, Dee Richards. Craig, have a great weekend. Tomorrow at practice, I'm David Smoak. Good night. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist's office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.